Pudge, what time is
It's time for the Chubby Guys podcast.
Woo!
All right, we're back.
Hey, how's it going?
You got your tall boy.
I do, and it's a king.
That's the king of beers.
You better believe it.
Yes,
it's
sir.
been a minute since I've tasted one, and I'll tell you what, there's a reason why they call it the king.
Hey, you know something? That was harsh years ago.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, smooth.
pretty smooth.
Yeah, you can. This is the original craft beer.
That's
brother.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
We got,
Beechwood Age.
we got to thank some guys.
It says right on the can.
Yeah.
Who you want to thank first?
Well, I tell you who I want to thank first. We're just going to go right back and throw him in first. Hey, guys, try the beardedpup.com. Some of the best men's grooming products available on the market. I'll tell you, I have been a big fan of men's grooming products my entire life. And his post-shave balm is the best that I have ever used in my 48 years. Complete facial moisturizer. You can use it on your arms, face, legs, wherever you want. The cologne at thebeardedpup.com will have your wife all over you. Guys, it's real easy. Just go to thebeardedpup.com, pull out your phone. It's really easy. Very interactive website. You can get on there, order a sample pack of any different product that you may want to try. I am here to tell you, this is Chubby Chad endorsed. I think that it is the best products on the market. Beardedpup.com. Get your phone out and go see it. All right.
Pretty slick.
Yeah, well, we got everybody. Thanks to all the sponsors for keeping
Hit
this
that
ship
like and
a
subscribe
sail.
button, you know.
Smash it.
Smash that thing.
Yeah.
Just bam, right there.
Yeah,
Right
like
there.
and subscribe.
And you know what? I'll tell you, I'm pretty happy tonight.
Okay.
Tyler's back.
Yeah, oh, my goodness, we got Tyler in the house. He needs to put his face out there on camera
Yes.
just so everybody knows he's alive.
Just jump in front of the camera.
Just
Tyler.
real quick.
Yes.
Just real quick. No, he won't do it. He just won't do it. The
How
guy's
was your
camera
trip?
shy.
Was your trip good? Trip was good, man. I was envious.
Oh, man, what a concert.
You can't hide money.
No.
You know, he just takes
Oh,
out, just
I know, man.
flies out last.
Yeah. Hey, just on the drop of a hat, bud. Hey,
you
he's
know he
like,
was
where
going
I'd
out-
like to see him is Red Rocks, you know.
Yeah.
So I'll just
Yeah.
shoot on out there.
I guess they played in Huntington a month ago, and he said, nah.
Not a good enough venue.
What
bud.
I'd like to do is go to Red Rocks.
Yeah, I want to fly out there.
You know, take my wife, family.
And they said, well, how much are tickets? He said, well, who cares?
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't care.
You probably you probably don't even know how much tickets were. That's how much money you're making right now. You don't even know. Did you see mountain bikers?
I
out
don't
there?
see sweat coming off
What?
his brow.
You didn't see none out there in the Garden of the Gods? You go to the Garden of the Gods?
No, we just hit Estes Park. And then,
How was Estes Park? Did you drive through Rocky Mountain National?
no, we didn't.
Why?
We went down and went to some of the shops, and then went down to the golf course where all the elk were
Hanging out. Okay.
close.
Estes Park's
He was
pretty
out
sweet.
there chasing the craft beer around.
He
all
was,
that.
yeah. Did you have any crafties? You didn't?
No crafties in Denver.
Man.
I should have taken some Chubby bartender stickers.
Yeah,
Just smacked them
smacked
all
them
over
on some
everything.
bumper stickers.
Yeah,
man.
everywhere.
Yeah, on the bumpers. Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, we got a special guest in here
Yes,
tonight.
we do.
Yes.
We've been waiting.
This is your doing. So I'm
hey,
gonna let Chad take it.
we've been waiting to have this guy on here. I don't know how many times I've seen him. I mean, this guy not only is getting ready to is this your last year
This
in
is it.
education?
Yep, this is
Okay,
it.
so I mean, we've
You
got
gotta
a guy
look
that's
back.
a lifelong educator.
Well, it is like a reflection
I mean,
tonight, man.
he's been everything from a teacher to a high level administrator, football coach, softball coach. So I'm sure we've got tons of stories we can
Actor.
get into there. That is another thing.
Yes.
I mean
Thank you.
that we really are.
That's an actor.
Yeah.
Actor.
Well, I mean, we're sitting here. We've been running this show, and I don't think we've ever had an actor,
A celebrity actor.
somebody that was on an actual film that people watched on. And tonight, Joe Hemsley is here
Thank you.
to
Thank
tell
you
us
both.
about it. Yeah.
Well, it'll be quick.
Yeah. Yeah, that I watched it. Holler.
Yes,
Yeah, I was trying to
correct.
think of the name of it. Holler.
Directed and written by Nicole Regal.
Did you know her in school? You
No,
you
she
probably
had
weren't
graduated before I became
got
the
here.
principal. Yeah.
here. Gotcha.
Okay. Well, since we're there, we're talking about Holler. How did you get involved with that project?
Well, I had two secretaries at the district office that if you people that work with me, next time I see you and I have my badge,
Yeah.
I'll show you. It looks like I just got out of jail. Okay, this picture was from my first year. It's faded. So Jill Sheets and Melissa Hughes somehow collaborate, and they get the picture off the website. I think it's the same picture that's on there now. 15 years later, it's the same picture on the website.
Tyler will find that. He'll crop that out. He'll
Thanks,
smack at
Tyler.
him. Yeah.
Well, and again, it's not even, because we have great IT guys at the school. It's just that I haven't got a picture retake. Or
Now you're
whatever
at
it
the
is.
end. Don't do
Yeah, I'm not doing it now. Phil will make me do it tomorrow. Anyway, so they send it in, and I had received an email. The email was directed to me, wanting male teachers for this part. So, of course, is it all right to send this out, to a staff group, the whole group? Sure. Everybody throughout all the buildings got it. The girls then take my ID, send it in. They were teasing me one day in the office, Scott Lowe, Scott and I, I said, no, I'm not doing it. So they send it in. Well, lo and behold, a week, 2 goes by, I get an email from this young lady with this production.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? I'm not doing this. So I made a comment, and Jill Sheets starts kind of like, oh, sissy, scared. And it's like, kept daring me.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, I'm going to go do this just to, get her to be quiet about the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I go up to the spot on Main. That's where the young ladies were. Somebody walked out right as I walked in. I knew it was Tyler Jeffers. I walk in. Of course, shirt and tie on. It's right after work.
Yeah.
I said, I'm this guy. I'm keeping this appointment, fulfilling. That way they'll leave me alone in the district office. And the young lady says, will you sit down and talk to us for a second? I said, really, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And she said, do you know any jokes? I said, nothing I can tell you. Without being.
Yeah.
And so I leave. End the story again, kind of deal. I'm off the hook. Get another email from these young ladies. I'm invited to a spot over in Chillicothe behind Applebee's to read lines with Nicole. I don't know who Nicole is, So I go and get in there, and they said, wear your shirt and tie like you did. Okay. So I go in. I must look the part, I guess, kind of deal. Go in. They give me these lines. I sat down with this young lady. We started interacting. She's reading the lines, and I said, and it was a scene, it's kind of out of the movie, where the kid turns in a paper late.
Yeah.
And wants sympathy. And there's a great line about sympathy that Bob Kite told me a long time ago. Can I say it on the?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
We say shit, hell.
Yeah, okay. All right.
We're good.
Yeah.
Let's break the ice here.
I've heard, all right, good deal. Thank you. Taking the edge off. Boy, Pudge. I'm feeling a little better. I'm like, who's watching me? My kids are probably watching this like, Dad.
Exactly.
Anyway, Mr. Kite had told me one time, he said, so I said something about sympathy, and he said, you want sympathy? Look between shit and syphilis in the dictionary, and you'll find it.
That's a Bob Kite quote.
Yeah.
I can't see Bob doing that.
Yeah, he told me that one time. Yeah,
Between shit.
there's a great guy, but that's a show in itself, man. That's one of my favorite all time peoples, Mr.
Well,
Kite.
now he's back in the light. We can't get him over here now. He won't come on. That's why
he's my friend, and he was a great mentor to me. But anyway, back to the story. I go to this thing, and I finally looked at this Nicole, and I said, look, this is about a kid not turning something in on time. Can we just do this and me ad lib it? And she says, yeah. So she read the line, and I answered her the way I would if a kid had been in my class, a player on your team. It was an irresponsible act that the kid had taken at this point from the information I had. Okay, thank you. And my wife, in the meantime, is at Applebee's eating and having a drink. I like it's like the walk of shame from this building behind Applebee's across the parking lot, and people are looking like, what the hell's this guy doing in a shirt and tie? So I go in. She said, how'd it go? I don't know. Again, a week goes by. Can you show up at Chillicothe High School for the filming on this day?
Filmed?
Yeah.
Like, hey, you got the part.
Yeah,
more or less.
I was Mr. Porter. Mr. Porter was my name in the film. You guys, I can't believe you couldn't remember that.
I just knew you was in it. I can't remember.
Well, it's like saying like Clint Eastwood, and you think of Josie Wales. You say Joe Hemsley, Mr. Porter.
Mr. Porter. We'll not forget that again.
Mr. Porter.
Maybe we should put a subtitle or underneath. This week's guest, number
Porter.
71. Mr. Porter,
right? Yeah, it's like
Joe
Mr.
Hemsley.
Belvedere or something.
Yeah.
So it was filmed in Chillicothe High School.
Yeah, it was really neat. We started out in the library. That was my first scene with the young lady that played the lead. And if you,
What was her name in the movie? Not a real name, but what was her actress name?
I can't think of either name now. You asked me too fast. Yeah, because I call her by name in the library scene when I go to grab the backpack. Hey,
Jess?
they had a stunt man there. That's what I was going to go to.
For you?
Yeah, me and her.
Oh my.
Yeah, seriously, this guy was a certified stunt man, and again, it was a really neat experience. You were talking about him being able to run everything, and you guys, okay, yeah, they had guys. I'll call them their maintenance crew, like your room here. They'd come in and look at it, maybe take some pictures with their iPad, and then Nicole and her assistant director, which she wasn't very nice. You always got to have good cop, bad cop.
Yeah.
Nicole's sweet as can be. The assistant director, I was scared of her.
Yeah.
I think everybody on set was. But they would come in, these maintenance guys, and I mean, they would move it around like 15 minutes later, it was a different place.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really cool to watch them work. And I mean, Chillicothe High School and Chillicothe City must have gave them the green light, like
Do
the
what you
lights
need
that you
to do.
guys use
Yeah.
10 times that scale. And
Yeah.
they would plug them right into the overhead lights. I mean, it was pretty neat process. I was more amazed by that, moving doors off hinges, and
Yeah. Just
it was neat.
How long did it take to film?
Oh my Lord, 12 hours.
12 hours.
And if you go back and you do a stopwatch, I'm not in the movie 3 minutes.
okay.
I mean,
But your scenes.
yes,
Did they do it all in one day?
yes, that whole day on a Saturday.
Wow. Okay.
That was pretty intense. It was pretty crazy, especially me and my ADHD.
oh yeah, that's what we record.
Well, there's
music
probably
is.
a lot of sitting and waiting, isn't there? I mean, like
Oh, well,
while they rearrange or
Talk about it. Try to do it better.
do they make you redo it 100 times?
yes. If we were filming a scene right now, and Tyler's filming us, that we would all say our lines, and he would film panoramic view. Then all of a sudden, we would all say our lines, and then now the camera's on you.
Yeah.
And Chad and I are still saying ours. And then and then if our hands or whatever, we all got our hands on the table. Well, if you moved, or you didn't sit like that last time. It was like after a while, I was like, what?
Yeah.
That's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a neat experience. The cameras,
Recordings do not lie.
no.
Like they don't lie.
No.
I mean, so they have to be perfect.
And I mean, how much memorization was involved for you?
I had, if you put them all 4 together, maybe a sheet and a half of double space type paper.
But was it pretty natural for you?
Yes.
I mean, was it pretty realistic compared to
Yes.
like your life experience?
Yeah,
So that might make it a little bit easier, right? Like, or did you
yeah.
feel like you were like in big time actor gear there? I mean,
when I first went in, I'll be honest with you guys. I was thinking about this on the way in here, and I got, I was like, damn. I got a little nervous coming in here tonight. I don't want to, because you guys, it's fun to watch you guys do this. And I'm thinking, everybody out there is probably thinking, geez, Joe Hemsley, that's the best they could do tonight.
no.
So good. But
Mindy's
I got
excited. I think Mindy's excited.
Yeah. Anyway.
She said, "Tell Joe." I said, "I don't know."
Mindy. Anyway, but yes, being in the being able to do that, the library scene was crazy. Her character's taking a book, and I'm the teacher, evidently in the library, obviously, and she goes out there double doors, and I'm supposed to grab her backpack, and they gave me an aiming point. That's kind of crazy, and you think about it.
Yeah.
They had a ribbon on the backpack, and Nicole and the assistant director. I think the guy was like a director of production or something. And then this stunt guy, he was a bigger fella. He was standing there. I didn't know who he was at first. And they said, get the ribbon. It's like, okay. So I do. And they said, oh, no. I said, you have to stop her. And they said, grab her. And I said, in our jobs, you're talking about being in.
Right.
I said, you don't do that
can't
unless
do
somebody's
that.
getting, and they're in a fight.
Yeah.
They're hurting themselves. Then you jump
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
I said, that's, I'm grabbing. And Jessica Barton's this little girl's name, and she is really good, for what I know. And she looked at me. She's English accent. She's, the English are pretty free with their vocabulary.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
one
yeah,
thing I
yeah,
found out.
yeah,
This
yeah.
kid that looks like she's 15.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about
Sailor.
Oh, yeah.
Sailor.
She could hang out at the racing gun club.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? She fit right in. And smoke cigarettes like she's on fire.
Really?
It was, yeah, kind of, I'll tell you that later. It was pretty cool. Anyway, so she looks at me and says, go ahead and grab the backpack. And I'm like, okay, so we did this about, I'm telling you, 15 times. And this is the very first thing I've done. And I'm thinking at this point, we're all competitive sitting at the table and everybody listening. I'm thinking I'm screwing this up. I'm hurting the team. I look at Nicole and I said, well, maybe I'm not your guy. She said, no. grab a hold of her. So I thought, okay. And again, this girl didn't weigh 95 pounds.
Yeah.
So I thought, all right, here we go. They went through the scene. I asked her to stop. She doesn't stop. I got her by the backpack, and I mean, it was like a 25-pound bag of dog food. Just shoo, right on. She tumbles across that, and they go, cut. Yeah. This stunt guy says, you need to come here. And so he takes me aside, and he said, listen. I said, you told me to grab her. I did what I was supposed to do. She's okay, thankfully. You know, I mean, I didn't do it on purpose, but it's like, what do you want me to do? And then he diagrams it. They have a TV on a tabletop like this. You're looking down like a game film.
Yeah.
He plays it back.
So you need to jerk her back to here.
Yes.
Basically,
yeah, and that's what he did, Pudge. And but it took it seemed like that first scene took, geez, we started right at 8 a.m. I mean, it was, because those guys are union guys with the cameras and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was in the Screen Actors Guild. When I got my check, they took out union dues.
Really?
Yeah, man, I got it on my phone.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Screen Actors Guild.
Yeah, I thought I was going to get called for a award or something.
Hey, you never know.
Well, now announcing, for Best Dramatic Film in Jackson, Ohio.
Thank you, Bud.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, the Chubby Award goes to
on behalf of the Academy. No, it was pretty cool, and again, that took forever. The one sound guy, because they'd always mic us up. He had just done it's the thing, I think it's out now with Val Kilmer, where he's after he's cancer and all this.
It's a documentary.
Yes, and I think
Val Kilmer got cancer.
Bad.
Terrible bad.
And he's having to he talks with one of those electric things, and they did a documentary. It's wildly popular right now.
Really, I haven't seen it. I like Val Kilmer.
It's pretty sad.
Yeah. His last film, anyway, and there, this young man, had worked with him. And so he was telling me some of the people he worked with. And of course, I'm like, wow, really? And he's like, the makeup lady had just come back from Connecticut and had been there for 8 weeks. And they flew her to.
I mean, it's a different world, isn't it? I mean,
different people. Jessica Barton's favorite snack food during this film, what I saw, we've all seen the 5-pound bags of peanut M&Ms in Walmart.
Yeah.
These were 10-pound bags out of Sam's Club or something, man.
She just loved M&Ms.
Every time I looked at the girl. And then when she got a break, she'd go outside on the bench at Chillicothe High School, which is really, to me, I'm like, what? Smoking cigarettes, her and her boyfriend and me. I didn't smoke. I just got sat with her and talked to her. We'd go outside. She'd say, come on out, Joe, in her English accent. And outside I'd go. And it's she'd sit there and smoke. Say, now in this next scene, and she helped me as the day went on. I got really comfortable with her. In the classroom scene.
Did you relax a little bit as the scenes went on?
Yeah, because Nicole had talked to me after the first one, after the fiasco of the backpack thing. We finally got it right. And then I had to take a fall.
Oh, okay.
She elbows me and I go down. Thing. It was pretty cool. But then later in the day in the classroom scene, it got easier.
Okay.
And Nicole, like I said, the assistant director, I mean, she's doing her job.
Yeah.
And just not me, but anybody.
Yeah.
And Jessica and her had a couple exchanges. So I thought, ooh, cat fight.
Yeah.
Here they go. Yeah. That's what I come for, kind of deal. And they're in the classroom, we were doing our lines. And I don't know what my line was now, but I kept wanting to jump it, flip it. And they stopped me because, I did have it memorized. And Jessica finally says, let him say it the way he wants to say it. And it was I kind of looked at her. She's I'm not frustrated with you. It's them. You say it the way you want to say it, and I'll go with you. And that's when I figured out that, of course, then I don't Google this young lady till after I get home. Yeah, I'm that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. She's been trained. She knew more about it probably than maybe other than Nicole sitting there.
Yeah.
And so at that point, then it became really easy. And then the last thing of the day was the scene with our local police officer, a young lady that worked here for a while. I don't know if she still does or not. She's the resource officer in the scene, and we're in a thing off the library at Chillicothe High School, and it's supposed to be an office, and Jessica's in a seat. I'm standing along the wall. And we'd done our lines, and the cameraman's in there, and the young lady police officer here from in town, and I seen Nicole whisper to her. And so it's kind of a heated exchange. Like, you need to quit stealing books. Ruth is her name in the movie.
Ruth. Yeah.
Ruth, you need to quit stealing books, blah, blah, blah,
Ruthie or whatever.
And all of a sudden she says, oh, so does your wife know you fill up little girls? I'm thinking, that ain't the freaking line.
Yeah.
I just stopped.
Yeah.
I'm like looking at her. I mean, but Nicole is standing behind her off camera, and Nicole just busts out laughing.
Yeah.
And it's like, I said, oh, that's cool. And at that point, it was like I had been accepted.
Yeah.
That finally hosed me on the day.
Yeah.
So, and then it was like, man, it made me feel a little bit better before I left. And then we redid everything one more time. Nicole walked us through everything one more time. But you talk about a bright young lady. Okay, you've coached. We've all coached.
Yeah.
We've all played. You talk about somebody that's determined, that has a desire. Oh yeah, man! You can just tell it. Now we all wanted to be, Major League Baseball player, pro football player, NBA star. She wants to be one of those directors in Hollywood that And I'm telling you, she's got that drive. I mean, she was really impressive to be.
Yeah.
But living here the last 15 years. It's a Jackson City Schools product that's went on to do something great, man.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's a great alumni, great representative.
You think about that, like all of the things that she has to do to bring that together. And I mean, whether or not she ever makes it big, for every time she does that, my goodness. I mean, you think about the movement of resources and the leadership and things like that, let alone the creativity that takes.
They were sending us like informational emails about her, and like she was the who's who in the top 10 here, and of course then COVID strikes, and and it's like great. Yeah. Like they canceled a couple of the film festivals that this film was going to be.
Go to.
And it was like, but it was a neat experience, neat people. The kids in the classroom scene were from Medina High School and Chillicothe High School.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
But like you really didn't have any. Like you weren't. It wasn't like you were dying to be in this.
No,
you literally kind of got shoved into it. And,
and it became a great experience. I
you're
mean,
glad you did it now.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's kind of like being married.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
I know my wife's not watching.
But it's here forever.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, man, glad I did it. Yeah,
No, I'm kidding. But
I liked the movie. I thought the movie was good.
Here's the thing. Anybody that works in southeastern Ohio, has a teacher, a coach, custodian, bus driver, that kid. You have that kid. And that's where, in the scene in the classroom, it was like, people have said, oh, you really dashed that kid's dreams. It's like, well, if you really look into it, there are kids that I have probably said, look, you can't afford to go to Harvard. You need to go to Hawking or whatever the case may be. But I was still trying to encourage them to give them the means where debt is not an issue after you graduate. But again, that wasn't Nicole's theme in that, it was just a kid that had been denied. That was having a rough life in that movie. But it was pretty cool.
I don't care for the portrayal of Southern Ohio. I guess that was the only thing I kind of, and now I say that, and I've got a song that's about the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's hard to be, too.
Well, I mean, the way I look at it,
that.
I think all of us probably get a little defensive sometimes.
Oh,
with the way people look at and portray us. But like when I look at that one, like that was made by one of our own. And what I think is like, look, man, the thing is, like, the reason it's portrayed that way a lot of times is because, man, it's kind of the reality. Especially from the outsiders looking in. I mean, if you're an outsider looking in at this area, you don't see a lot of the bright spots.
Well, but it was just the gray tones.
Oh, I know.
The movie was just the movie was like the color of this wall.
Yeah, and I think that was the point.
It was. I mean, I'm sure that was a.
She filmed the one day here in Jackson. It was like the coldest day of the year. Literally, they filmed, and she had that guy
right here, right behind us.
Yeah, the guy was Walking Dead or something.
Yeah.
That was the day that dude was in town, I guess.
Yeah.
I wasn't a part of that. I was one trick pony in Chillicothe. I was done.
Yeah. How long did it take her on the whole to put that film together? Do you know?
4 months or something?
No, it was a lot longer than that.
No, but like the shooting time, wasn't the shooting time around 4 months?
She did get into some limitations in Chillicothe with some spots like the mead and stuff like that.
Okay.
But excuse me, she also it almost took 2 full years before I ever saw any finished product.
I met her in 2016 or 17 or 18 before she filmed. This was like her first trip. I met her up to the brewery one night, just sitting there. She was sitting beside me. I'd say that's where the Pudge came from in the movie. I'd say,
Yeah.
There was a character in there called Pudge.
Okay, see, you could have.
You didn't meet Pudge?
No.
Oh yeah, there was another Pudge in there.
Yeah.
You didn't
There's
see
only one Pudge.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Imposter.
But she was down here gathering information.
Yeah.
In probably that had to have been 18.
What year would she have graduated from Jackson High School?
9, wasn't it?
She was what was the last class before they moved to the high school on the hill?
03.
Oh boy, 03, early. That was early 2000s.
She graduated from the old high school.
Okay.
Did she?
Okay. And then where does she live now?
Hollywood, did
Yeah,
she?
I think LA
She's in
somewhere.
LA. Yeah.
The morning of the filming, that you guys will appreciate this. We this is right after Geiger Brothers, Scott Massey and crew had come out with the bobbleheads.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And the first one was Bob.
Yeah.
You know? And so Scott, being as gracious as he is, knows, Bob and I had worked together that time and very fond of Bob. I went to the office and said, hey, and, he was good enough to accommodate me, which I really, to this day, appreciate. It's been out of the box one time. So when you watch that classroom scene, you need to look who's standing over my shoulder on the file cabinet.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Mr. Kite.
Nice.
Yeah, boy.
Nice. He's everywhere.
Yes, he is. And when I went
The
in,
bobblehead was present.
yeah, it
That's
was
awesome.
present.
That's
And
awesome.
again, when I went in that morning, I took it and I thought, I'm going to ask anyway. Bob's a good buddy of mine. Of course, I told him and Sharon, that and he, with me, we've shared enough stories. Bob and I have it. It's okay, whatever you're going.
Yeah,
you're going to do that.
yeah,
all right,
go ahead.
Yeah. And so I went in, and it was still in the styrofoam and everything that they came in. And I asked Nicole, I said, every classroom teacher gets to decorate their classroom. Are you okay if I do this? And of course, like I said, they had rearranged the room, like a genie.
Yeah.
And she said, yeah. So I take it out, and I set it on the table. And I know that guy. And I said, you do? Of course, I covered up. His name's on the bottom. I covered up my finger, and I said, she said, he was the assistant principal. Said, I never seen him smile. And she says, Mr. Rice. And I said, no. She said, it starts with a K. And I said, Mr. Kite. And she said, yes. And I said, can I put this on the file cabinet? She said, absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, her comment was, he was always good to me. He was always fair to me. And it was like, well, man, if you know Bob.
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty cool that this girl, she wanted to integrate people from the area into the film. And,
And I don't think she was doing it to make fun of us.
Oh, no.
I think it was just her portrayal of it.
Yeah, I think she's actually kind of trying
Getting to talk
shed
to-
light. I don't know.
Getting to talk to her, I think that she felt, as a young lady here, that she was denied some things. Again, whether that was intentional, unintentional, whatever.
right,
but I think
right.
and then she went in. She's a veteran, man, U.S.
Oh,
Army.
yeah.
Which is really cool.
Oh, yeah.
That was part of her story. What you forget is man, she spent 4 years in the Army, maybe more, at least 4. I know that. And again, it's like, okay, she served and then still pursued her dream.
Right.
And she had told me that's what she wanted to do in high school. And at that point, I don't think they had what we have now.
Sure.
And so, for her to do that, and I think her portrayal of Southern Ohio being a young lady, you're denied opportunity sometimes. Which I think whether it be stereotyping us or not, Pudge, I think is somewhat true, especially more so probably 25, 30 years ago than
now.
it is even now. Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting because she was probably, just from a local standpoint, she was probably right at the end of that whole style, and then I think Steve came and Phil and you and you guys all kind of came mid 2000s, late 2000s started coming, and I would think I can remember Chad probably talk about this too, but my parents were blue collar people and college just wasn't, getting out of Jackson wasn't really something you talked about. I mean,
Right.
I can remember my buddies being like, "Hey, you're going to take ACTs?" And I'm like, "Well, AP Green doesn't need it." I mean, I was going to work, and,
Right.
it's just one of those things that I think you would know. I mean, isn't that better now? I mean, don't they?
Oh, it's so much better now that the kids have so many more opportunities. And, it's funny you mentioned that. It's not a poor pity me story, but the fact of the matter is I was in high school. I was thinking about things you guys would ask me because I emailed you and I said,
We figured
we never really know.
He called me today, so we're going to talk to Hemsley about, which we do for every guest. And I said, whatever the hell we want to.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I said, just
well,
hang
what I
out.
said is what I told Post. I go, I know he's an enjoyable guy to talk to, and I know that he's a good conversation, and I'm not sure where we'll go. It doesn't really matter.
Well, thank you. I think that's a compliment.
Yeah, it definitely is. I don't think you're what I would characterize as a difficult man to have a conversation.
No.
But I mean, and you're in education,
Yes.
and I do think that education in Southern Ohio has changed, and I think it's for the better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think the stereotype is, I don't know what it is.
Well,
now.
I think it's odd because I think that we here in Jackson, and not to get too specific on the show because we're covering a wide region, but it's a rural area. But our schools here in Jackson for the last 20 years, Joe, or maybe longer, I don't know. I mean, have been performing at a very high level, equal of that in all of the cities in Ohio, and that's kind of a rarity, isn't it?
Well, schools comparable to us. Phil does a great job every here at the board meeting, and people don't know the depth that he puts, this time that he puts in to get the depth and breadth of what he presents when it comes to test scores. So we only, again, focus on local. There's many things that I can go through, and they list all, I want to say, there's 700 plus districts.
In the state.
Public districts in the state, I think is what it is. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sorry if I am. But when you look at those and you see like Jackson City Schools or Jackson High School, Southview Elementary, whichever, okay, all these buildings, these people do a fantastic job. I'm telling you. They don't know how.
My wife's a great teacher.
Yeah, she is. Okay. All right. She really is. Okay. His wife's a great teacher. There's great employees here. They do a good job, and the proof's in the pudding. And sometimes it ain't all about the test scores. Okay. Let's look at the Braves. We're gonna look at numbers. Let's look at the Atlanta Braves winning the World Series. They weren't supposed to.
No.
Sometimes it's about the growth that we show.
Yes.
Beyond.
Well, Travis Ruckle shared that thing today. He said a successful coach doesn't win championships. He said a 10U successful coach doesn't worry about championships.
Yeah.
He worries that they all come back out for 11U.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
yeah.
And kind of the same thing, right?
In southeastern Ohio, 25 years ago, longer than that, I guess, you had the coal mines boom and you had the power plants boom. You had construction guys in here from all over the world building these power plants and everything around us. And the mead was
different
just,
area back here.
The mead smelled like cabbage all the time. In Chillicothe, when I lived over there, I'd say, you know what that smell is? And they say money, and it's like, so
why if these kids, why I guess it's
they've had to go get educated because you don't go to the coal mine now and make $25 an hour.
Well,
I didn't make
that's the thing coming out of high school. A lot of these the jobs of like the factory jobs and these living wage
you had the
great
Goodyear
jobs
plant, right?
they're gone, man. So now it's like almost you've got to decide like, all right, man, maybe I'm going to go into a trade, maybe I'm
the three factories that I worked in the coal mines, McBee's and Meridian. None of them are there anymore.
Nope.
None of them.
Yeah, my father-in-law worked at McBee's years ago before he went to Ben Tom, which is a guardrail company down out of Meigs County, and then.
But that was there for 50 years.
Yeah, right there along the Hawking River. So you're talking about,
I mean, you're talking. I mean, Goodyear and Meridian. That was built in 1966.
Right.
So I mean, but in all of a sudden, in a blink of an eye, my dad's plant. He worked there almost 50 years. I mean, it's not even there. It's not that they slowed down. No, they're not there. They're gone.
So like if you're a guy or gal that graduates from Jackson High School
just
today,
anywhere,
and you didn't, maybe take advantage of a trade school or something. I mean, I don't know that the job pool is quite as deep as what it once was. Is that fair?
Yes,
Coming out.
it's more. It's going to be more of the IT stuff, the midfields. They
going to be more technical types, and that's where I think our schools have done a great job of blowing the former ceiling off of it and continuing to climb.
Well, yeah, your daughter's at Brown.
Well, I was going to say, like, what do you think the odds of that? Like, I mean, and not only that, her best friend's at Yale,
Yeah,
and her other best friend's at Duke.
yeah.
I mean, like, dude, Jackson kids weren't doing that when I was in school.
No.
I mean, we'd have one occasionally, but now we got 2 or 3 every year doing this.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I'd say Elena's the first Jackson student to go to Brown.
I don't know. I mean, the thing is, but like, I know she could have gone to Purdue. She could have gone to Notre Dame, and like the thing is, it's like, hey man, and I'll tell you what, I'd like to bring her on the show sometime because, she'll tell you probably like, hey man, it's different, being a Jackson kid at Brown. However, she didn't feel like she was outclassed and didn't know what she was doing there.
No, the Wall
was
girl
prepared, dude.
The Wall girl graduated
Abby
with
Wall.
she graduated with Katie, my Katie, and she Ivy Leaguer, and I haven't talked to her in a couple of years, but I'm telling you, that young lady was well prepared. Again, things have changed. This is a great place to work. We got great people that work here. We got great leadership everywhere. There's nothing negative. We got an athletic team that's getting ready to play Friday night
There's lots of good going on here.
Oh, okay, yeah. And again, so it's like we got. I mean, everybody puts their time in. Yeah. I've raised my kids here.
Oh yeah.
As a dad, it's like what a fantastic place. I'm the outsider, man.
Hey, I've seen this place as a student. An athlete, a coach, and now I'm seeing it as a dad. And I'll tell you what, I am damn proud of this community and our school district because we have a very unique thing here. I mean, and like you look at those playoff games and like when we go on the road in the playoffs, I don't care what sport it is. My goodness, you might as well somebody turn the lights off in town because everybody's going. We roll out there with a marching band with almost 200 kids in it. I mean, it's like we invade a place.
Okay.
And it's like, man, this is outstanding.
I totally agree with what you're saying. And Jason Snyder, you remember Jason?
Yes, I
Was
do.
you with him? Was you here?
Jason. Vinton County Jason.
Yeah.
Jason was in the U.S. Navy, which again, thank you, Jason. And he had come home on leave. This is a good story on Jason. And he come home, and of course, he's really good friends with Nolan Yates. Nolan was one of my assistants. Nolan, good dude. And so Nolan had mentioned Jason was home. Well, this guy plays at the Naval Academy. He's somebody that his name is Vinton County football.
Oh, he is.
Okay, and it was a really good one.
Yeah.
And so I look at Nolan. I said, get him over here. So I think if Jason will probably hear this. I think he was home like for 10 days or something.
Okay.
So, this is my first year. We're really bad. I mean, the kids worked their butts off. We just weren't really good. They put their time in. We were trying to get better. I was learning. They were learning. I get him over there, and Jason Snyder gives me 2 full weeks, has like an assistant football coach at Vinton County High School of his own time. No, right. I knew you guys wouldn't because you know him, and that's how much he loves it. And it was one of those things, it was like one of those aha moments in 30-some years. You know what I mean? That was one of those moments. It was like, oh, okay, so, I felt like as a coach you're doing something right. But at the same time, those kids, if they think back about that, this guy played defensive tackle.
Legit.
Oh,
I don't know anybody any higher. Mike Bartram.
Yeah, and I watched the show there. That is Bart's boy over. That's the oldest one, I think, that played at Charlotte.
Okay.
He's got one at OD,
right. Yeah.
and then he got one that just committed to Harvard, maybe.
It's one of the Ivies.
The one that's playing at Spring Valley down around Charleston, West Virginia High School.
Yeah.
And then I think the best athlete, what I've been told, I haven't seen her, is the little girl.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, Jason, going back to that.
Yeah, Snyder.
I talk to him 3 or 4 days a week. He's just one of those guys, we talk a lot. And we talk about all the time, raising kids in this area. And one thing that, how do you get, okay, so let's take your position out of it, okay, take what your career is, and let's just talk about being a dad, and let's just talk about where we live. And how do you get that good student and that good kid, how do you get that kid through those rough next 5 years? Because there's a lot of great kids come out of the system, but I feel like once they come out, and I don't mean this like against anybody, but they just kind of, this is just the world. They come out of the system, and then they just kind of, when they go out into nothing. Prime example, there was a boy that I ran into. I think I told you the story.
Yeah.
I ran into him a couple weeks ago, probably a month ago right now. He was very good athlete, state honors, all whatever sports he wanted to play. I won't mention any names because people will figure it out. Well, I talked to him, and he's 2 years out now, and I said, what are you doing now? And I said, you getting ready to go back to school? This was like right at the September, why you getting ready to go back or something? Or why are you here? Oh, no, I'm at right now. And I thought, whoa. I said, nothing wrong, but I know you. Okay, how did you end up supposed to? You got a ride here. What's going on? And how does that kid? How do we keep that tunnel for him a few years longer to get him through?
Right.
Because man, those
question.
were my dipshit years.
Oh,
It's everybody.
It's everybody's dipshit years, and I was like, man, this kid. If somebody doesn't get a hold of this kid is just going to. And I mean, he's going to do fine. He's a great kid, but it's just like, man, that's just.
I'll tell you what the answer is, and it comes down to probably very similar to what you did. We got to take a kid like that when he comes back as a community, embrace him, keep him on the right path,
Make some contacts
and launch. I mean,
Launch, yeah.
look, dude. I mean, hey, school isn't for everybody. But there's jobs out there, man.
And we talk about this all the time, just like you talk about school and sports and everything. And I mean, at this age now, was school, and I don't. This is not an insult. My wife's a teacher. Okay, but at 40 years old now, I don't know how important it is. Now that's just me.
Oh man, it's extremely important. I guess
because
I can't find the right verbiage to represent it. And again, here's the reality: public education is one of the best. Now, again, can everybody do better? Yes, and so everybody can pick apart what they want to pick apart. We can all do better. It could all be a lot worse. Where we live, what are we making the most out of our local resources that we have? Do we recruit educators? Yeah. We try to get people to come to Jackson. The city, the mayor, the council, they're trying to make it better. They're not easy jobs when you're in the public.
Oh my goodness.
At the same time, you make a great point. Do we lose kids 2 years out of high school? They're an academic all-star, if you will. They're a great athlete, and all of a sudden he or she, they're working at. Oh, that's not a knock on anybody. What can we do as a society? What can we do as a school system? The answer is, I started to grin when you were talking, Chad. That wasn't what you say. It was funny. I could hear my dad in the background. Now, remember, my dad in 1957 was a Pomeroy Panther. Okay, before the Marauders, obviously. He was a Pomeroy Panther.
Yeah.
And, his answer is, everybody goes in the Army 2 years.
There you go.
And that's what he kept telling.
I don't think that's horrible.
I don't either.
Well, he kept
it done me a hell of a lot of good.
Well, he kept telling me that, and it did. It would have done me a lot of good. Like you said, those were my squirrely years. Not that if my wife listens, he's still a squirrel. Well,
No, I learned a lot, and I learned a lot those years.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade him.
But also this town. If it wasn't for this town, they embraced me coming back.
I had a mom that was the oldest of 7 brothers and sisters. Her oldest girl. I got an Uncle Bill that still lives in Gallipolis, and then my mom, and then there's 5 under her, and her dad was an over-the-road truck driver, and her mom, which is my grandmother, my mom pretty much raised her brothers and sisters, so she was pretty darn tough. I was more scared of her than I was my dad. And then my dad, he's got an older sister and a younger brother, and my grandfather and my grandmother separated, so he was raised by a stepdad that was a U.S. Army vet, World War II, Master Sergeant for General Mark Clark. Mark Clark led the Italian campaign right before Normandy invasion. You forget we're
pretty close to that.
Was running the flank there on the Germans, kind of keeping them off. But again, Pop Clark, I called him Pop. I didn't call him Grandpa.
That was 2 people ago.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And he was raised by him. So when it come to me, I grew up in a 14 by 70 mobile home. That's not to say that mobile homes are bad. That's what I grew up in. No AC, dude. We didn't have a great deal. I had an educator tell me, because all my people were carpenters or worked in the plant. I had an educator tell me, you just need to get a carpenter's card. And back then, I had like a 18 on the ACT, which I think somebody will say, it was stupid. Well, that was back in 1981. Give me a break. Yeah. And I think that was about the average back then.
Yeah.
I think I sniffed 13 one time.
Yeah. Well, I took
I spelled ACT. They gave me a 13.
Yeah. I took it one time and went to Rio Grande. The best experience of my life.
Yeah.
Immature, out of my league.
Did you live on campus?
Yeah, and again, it was
just drunk.
I lived on campus.
I lived on
campus. One of the nuttiest thing that happened for me was I got into playing on a men's slow pitch team.
And I was little.
Well, he was later. Steve was later, but yeah.
Were you on the Food Land team?
No, I was on another team to start out with, and it was kind of like that was kind of an eye opener too, because again, I wasn't that I was an angel. That's was joking earlier with Tyler. It's like kids do stuff, and he's like, I want to look at him sometimes and say rookies.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that. I've been there. Kind of deal. And anybody that's in education, I don't know. I mean, people are people.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a story. That's an ornery story. But anyhow. So this person says, hey, you need to get a carpenter's card. And I went home and I made the mistake of telling my mom. My mom wasn't. She didn't go to the school. She looked just at me at the dinner table. My parents had got a divorce, and she looks at me and she says, "You're going to Rio Grande, and you're going to be successful." Oh yeah. And at that point, it was like it's either that or my teeth.
Yeah.
Now, what led you into education, Joe?
I went down there and I was a business major, accounting major.
Okay.
So my first year, I took all these accounting classes, and Peg Thomas. I knew you guys had asked me this. This is like a premonition. Peg Thomas, and for those out there that know Peg Thomas from Oak Hill, she saved me.
Okay.
My freshman year, I'm floundering. Mom and Dad's divorced. I'm an AB student. Doing whatever, and could have been doing better. And was smart enough to get by, kind of thing. And I was in accounting. And the end of my spring quarter, I was on quarters at Rio. Yeah. She calls me over to the office one morning. And she was like the counselor, Yeah. And she smoked cigarettes. Yeah. And she says, "You're in the wrong field." And I said, "But you can make lots of money in accounting." And she says, "You'll never be successful." She said, "Listen, this is Peg," but she says it in a way. She says, "They'll never keep your ass behind the desk. You can't sit still." Yeah. She said, "You need to go into education." Yeah. And I said, "What?" Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of looking at her, and she says, "I've already called Paul Shoemaker, who lived down Fairland. He was my advisor in the business department. Him and Vicky. She's a good lady too. These people were awesome. They had such an influence on me. It's amazing that we're talking about this. It's pretty cool. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Reflection.
Yeah.
And what was her name? Vic? Anyway, I went down and seen Dr. Shu, and he was down in the tech building there, right there at the end of the hill. You get Blind Hill, or up to Line Center. And I walk in. He says, "I'm Paul Shoemaker." He's smoking a pipe. Yeah. You remember, you can't smoke in the building. Yeah. Dr. Shu smoking a pipe. What are you going to do? You know?
Yeah.
He's smoking a pipe. And he says to me, he introduced himself. "Here's what we're going to do." And I took keyboarding. I took word processing, which was new. I took systems analysis. I had Ben Forsey, which I come to find out later is Fred Arthur's brother-in-law.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that till we did Fred's, I think it's his 110th birthday surprise party a few years ago or something
I
crazy.
had been for 3 classes over there.
Yeah. Cathode ray tube. Yeah, I remember him saying that. That was it, something that stuck out. But anyway, so that's how I got into education, business education, 7 through 12, comprehensive, with computers instead of shorthand. They didn't make me take shorthand. I was one of the first students that didn't have a shorthand degree.
Yeah.
And that would have been what year? 84?
I graduated in 87.
87. Okay.
86. I started teaching in the fall of 87 in Roane County, West Virginia.
Yeah.
You were talking about community and facilities.
Yeah.
And I taught at Left Hand Elementary. That was the name of school. You can Google it. Left Hand Elementary had 3 students, 2 boys and a girl.
3 students.
3. I had a reading class, special needs. Okay. It gets well. I left there and I went to another place, which I'm getting to. Okay. This is a great. This is a good story because again, I'll say this: I worked at Vinton County as a brand new building.
Yeah. Brand new.
Brand new.
Yep.
I worked at Jackson High School, still do Jackson City Schools. It is the bomb.
Yeah.
Okay, there ain't a better place around.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Okay, there ain't a better place around than where I work at. And I'm talking about cleanliness,
Yeah.
facilities. We got, like I said, they go on about the great people and the great people we got running the show here. It's awesome, okay? Can't say nothing bad about it. But my first job, this is a true story. I'm picking tomatoes at Don Richards Hills in Leetard, Ohio. Because I the county garage would only let you work 4 summers. I'd spent my 4 summers.
Okay.
I'm done.
Yep.
You're out. I got to have a job. I ain't got a teaching job yet.
So you're a tomato picker.
I am picking tomatoes for Don Richard Hill, classmate of my mother's.
Yeah.
Graduating class racing, Sutton High School, I think.
Yeah.
Was he a tobacco farmer too?
No. Tomatoes produce. Anyway,
Okay.
Don's going now. He's a great dude. So I'm picking tomatoes up there, and they had a phone in the barn where they packed the tomatoes. And we were out, just happened to be right out a couple of blocks away. Blocks or rows of tomatoes out from the barn, and they hollered and said, "You got a phone call." Of course, I just graduated in college, I'm making some extra money. I'm thinking, what? What the world? I'm thinking something bad. So I run to the barn, and Don Richards got the phone, and he says, "It's some lady from Rio Grande, Peg Thomas."
Peg Thomas.
Okay.
Says, "You got an interview today at 2:00. At Spencer High School in Spencer, West Virginia." I'm like, where the hell is Spencer, West Virginia?
Yeah.
She says, "Get a map. You'll find it. From where you're at, it's about an hour and a half. Bye." But this was, bye. I'm like, and she hangs
What
up.
time of day is this?
Oh, this is like maybe 9, 10 in the morning.
All right, so you-
and when you pick tomatoes, you get the tomato stain, and your fingers are gnarly. And so I'm like, huh? What?
Yeah.
So I go back to my mom's down Syracuse, Ohio, at the house or the trailer, and get cleaned up, get my best shirt and tie on, and I get a road map because that's what you did.
That's
then.
what you did.
Yeah.
Back then. Google Maps.
And I went across the Ravenswood Bridge. That's up Portland there. You go across the Ohio River, Ravenswood Bridge, go over to Ripley, down 77 to Ripley, get off US 33, which runs from Pomeroy to Athens. It's the same US 33, runs out of Ripley to Spencer. Run it right into the old Spencer High School, the Yellow Jackets.
Okay.
And walk in. This lady was their special ed director. They needed a K through 12 special needs teacher. I had not completed my degree. I needed like one class. They're desperate. It's, this is July. We're picking tomatoes.
Yeah.
And I'd interviewed several times for business ed jobs. I'd interviewed at Trimble.
Hey, do you want to help develop your child's athletic ability? Or maybe you want to get off the couch and make yourself a little bit better. They earn the day at AP Prep. Look them up, apprep.info.
Hey guys, on behalf of the Chubbies, huge thanks to Geiger Brothers Construction. Give them a call at 740-286-0800. They've been great community supporters, and they are a friend of the Chubby program, so thank you, Geiger Brothers Construction.
Interviewed at Hillsborough. I'd interviewed multiple times, and each time I get bumped by a woman, which was okay. Whatever. A female was Philip Kuhn was a business ed teacher.
Oh, yeah.
So again, more guys did it, but at that time it was 90% young ladies, which,
That was
makes
back
sense.
in a different time.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, they interview me. She says, "Okay, can you start, August, whatever?" Sure, I got a job. Mm-hmm. Well, then I went to the treasurer's office. We got paid once a month. And again on that Friday, if it was a holiday or something, you obviously got a day before. And I had enough money to make a payment on a brand new Mazda little pickup truck, B2600 4-wheel drive. And I went and did that, and I was living with my dad, and he was married to Dennis Reinhardt's mother, Marlene. Great lady.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. My dad was married to Marlene.
Well, now you got your mic back. All right.
Yeah,
All right.
we're
So
good,
you
we're good.
were saying you were Dennis Reinhardt's stepbrother for 10 years.
Yes, we very seldom at that time. I think we saw each other at Christmas, maybe holidays. He and my dad got to be really good buddies. Of course, we all know Dennis loves the outdoors. Loves to fish. Dennis just a good dude, man. His whole family, they were all great to me. But I was I was at that point in my life, I had moved on from the Roane County thing, and I was teaching up at Philo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you left Spencer. Where did you go?
then I came back to Ohio, and that was another Peg Thomas deal. I ended up at Jewett-Scio High School in Harrison County. Now it's part of Harrison Central.
Where's that?
Harrison County is eastern part of state. Newcomerstown, take a left through Gnadenhutton, Urickville.
Man, way out of my.
Yep, right up the
St. Clairsville. It's west of St. Clairsville,
West
Steubenville.
Virginia, Pennsylvania line.
Oh,
Up in
okay.
Pretty
there.
close,
Yeah.
yeah.
Chambering Hills country. You got to talk country
even
music.
further north than that.
Yeah,
Okay.
north and east.
You take what is that? Runs out of Cambridge into Caddis.
77.
Yeah.
No, goes off to 77, goes north and south. The interstate. This is state route. I can't remember what it is. Goes by Salt Fort Lake up in there. Anyway, I ended up there, and then again, I was single, trying to move a little closer to home. My dad's still in Meigs County, and I took a job at Philo.
Okay.
I was an electric.
Yeah, and that's in Perry County, right?
Muskingum.
Right
Right on the Muskingum-Morgan County line.
Yeah, more. Okay.
State Route 60 runs right along the Muskingum
Pete Wood's
River.
still there, isn't he?
Pete is
Yes.
still there, I believe.
Yep.
He's AD, isn't he?
I don't know if he is now. He was head football coach, AD.
Yeah.
I met Pete, though, before he ever went to Philo, before he ever came to Jackson. He was assistant baseball coach, assistant football coach at Meigs.
Yeah.
With my buddies, Chancey and Geen.
Yeah.
Geen's superintendent. Mike's now the assistant principal. Mike
What?
Chancey.
What a bunch that was over there. My God, I love those guys.
He was. He came my senior year.
Who? Pete?
Pete.
Pete's a good dude, man. He played at Marshall, was a center, walk
He
on.
didn't play at Marshall, did he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he played. He played.
Daddy played at Marshall.
No, he played center.
we all joke
He was
about
on
it.
the team with Barton him at one.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
center,
well, we
wasn't
always teased him because he'd always wear that ring around.
Yeah.
You know, we called him the Green Lantern.
That's good. That's a good name for Pete. I see he's big and grin. What a great guy. Yeah. But
Great guy. Great
Oh, he's one of the best.
His sons are old now, man. He had them
Oh,
whenever
yeah,
he was
yeah,
here.
yeah.
They're in college.
College,
now.
yeah.
Gee.
Oh,
Every
shoot.
bit of it.
Best assistant basketball coach I ever saw.
Who
Pete Woods.
was he?
Ask Dustin Ford.
Really?
No, Pete.
He was Dustin's assistant.
Mike
first
Chancey.
year.
Mike Chancey was bummed because him and Pete got really tight. See, because that's right after Mike had graduated from OSU, was on the
Okay.
team at OSU. Then he was a GA or grad assistant, and then I think he became a paid assistant at OU for a year.
Yep.
Chancey did while he finished up his education degree.
yeah.
And then the Meg's job opened up. He goes home. Pete gets hired because Pete.
My God, as a parent of an 8-year-old with a family and moving through life, the best thing I ever did was download the McDonald's app. What a breeze. Order for your family. Pull up. They bring it to you. Easy. Download the app today from McDonald's.
Hey, are you a business owner looking for insurance coverage? Give this guy a call. You know him. You trust him. Jason Gillum, Gillum Insurance, 740-395-0190.
Pete is buddies with Bart, Mike Bartram, and Mike, of course, went on to the NFL.
Yeah.
Bart's father-in-law, Fenton Taylor, was a longtime Charlie Chancey assistant coach and became the principal at Meigs at that point.
Okay.
So Pete had just got hired as a social studies teacher. Mike comes back, ends up being head football coach. And I
Mayor
remember
or something too, wasn't he? Wasn't he the mayor or commissioner too?
No, that's Bartram.
Oh, okay.
Bart was
Yeah,
commissioner years later, after he retired and everything.
yeah.
And then
But no, Pete was there for the Chancey years there early on.
Yeah.
And then he defected to Jackson, and it kind of created a relationship between Jackson and Meg's coaching staffs. I mean, if you've ever been a part of that world, it's a really cool deal.
It is.
I mean, when you get other coaching staffs together and you guys are like-minded, and it was just, I mean, what a great group of guys. So you were around that outfit then.
well, the Chanceys, again, we're spinning yarns here. Is what that's what Coach Chancey would always call it, Charlie.
Yeah.
They lived in Syracuse, Ohio, where I grew up, and my house to Rick's house. Rick's the older brother.
Oh, yeah.
And Rick's less than a year younger than me. And I moved from State Route 143 out near Wolf Pen, Ohio, out back of Pomeroy. We sold the farm and we moved to Syracuse. That's where my dad was originally from when I was a kid. So Pomeroy, K through 5, that's where I'd went to elementary school. So I was friends with some of the Meigs guys my age.
Sure.
Hadn't met the Chanceys, moved to Syracuse, and it was the spring because my mom kept driving us to Pomeroy to the elementary. We finished down there. Of course, Little League Baseball signups. I'd been a Pomeroy Red Leg.
Yeah.
We'd won the championship the year before. So anyway, so now I'm going to become the Syracuse, end up being Syracuse Raiders. Raiders.
yeah.
And so we moved to Syracuse, put the trailer in up there. Dad was in between jobs at that point. We'd bought a lot up there and in town, put the trailer in and stuff. and they took me to sign up for Little League. Well, Charlie Chansey, head football coach, Meg's Marauders.
Yeah.
Played at Marshall, was a GA at Marshall.
Yep.
So anyway, he is the coach. So, I don't know who the Chanceys are. And first night of Little League baseball practice, go to practice. And, of course, you want to fit in or whatever. So, he tells us to do whatever. So I go out in the outfield and stand. And my mom and dad were those people that they just dropped you off, and not that they didn't care. They come to the game and stuff, but I'm not hanging out at practice.
Yeah, none of them.
One, and of course, my dad knew who Charlie Chansey was. I didn't know who this guy was, and I had been to Meg's football games because I had cousins, Rick and Mick Ash, Dr. Ash over here at Holzer, her older brothers. That's where they went to school.
Okay.
And Dad was a Pomeroy Panther, and I went with my dad and my grandfather up till, we moved to Syracuse. I went to Meg's games on Friday nights when they played at home.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know this guy. So about halfway through the practice, he says, I want you to come in here at shortstop. And so he hits me some ground balls and stuff, and he talked to me a little bit, Mr. Chansey did. And so I go to leave that night, and I remember him telling me, he said, hey, next time you come, when I say infielders, I want you in here. And I was like, okay. So I went home. I remember Mom asking me how was practice, making friends kind of deal, that conversation. I said, yeah, this Mr. Chansey, I really like this guy. Lo and behold, to this day, if I can say this, if I needed a place to live, I can move in or out on Apple Road to this day. Yeah. This guy is like my dad.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And you talk about classy people. Mike is a microcosm of his dad. Yeah. And you know Mike very well. I know you guys do. Wolf does, Doug does. Like you said, when I come here, the relationship to what you guys, because you were scrimmaging then at that time. And, even Andy. When Andy, Andy, since Andy's come on board, it's still there's that camaraderie. And it's neat. I had that relationship a little bit with Pete Holland and the boys at Paint Valley when I was at Vinton County. We scrimmaged, and we had that. We could go back and forth. We shared film. We sat with each other, and it was really great. And the kids competed. But, the Chanceys, and, of course, Charlie, who he was, I didn't grasp all that. Yeah. And so this guy's taking me to Meg's high school on Saturdays when nobody's around. He's doing AD's work in his office, me and Rick and Mike.
Playing out on the field.
Well, we're when he's mowing the field, we're down there playing football. We're shooting baskets in Meg's high school. Nobody's around.
Which is a big deal for a kid.
Oh, that's
for me. Yeah, my parents weren't educated people. Dad graduated. He's a carpenter, works in the plant, and Mom's a secretary. Down at what we called the welfare office down Middleport at that time. And that's what she did. So again, I'm like, these are the people that took me to Myrtle Beach for the first time in my life, the Chanceys, and it's like, wow. So anyway, as it goes then, Rick and I become this incredible pair, okay? We become, inseparable. He's going, because we're still in grade school. And then when I go to Racine, I'm a year older, I go to 7th grade at Southern, he's still at 6th grade, and then he goes to Middleport or Meg's junior high. But as soon as we'd get off practice, we didn't have a game, I was either there, he was at my house. I mean, it was constant. Meg's went on strike one year. This is a great story. Chance to appreciate this. Of course, Rick owns a lot of those cabins down in Gatlinburg, Pigeon Ford now. Doing very well. Anyway,
how's little brother doing?
He's the assistant principal at Meg's. He has a beautiful young daughter, Annie, and a young son that's an infant named Will. He's got a nice wife.
Yeah.
He's my little brother.
Yeah, that's why he's everybody's. I don't even know his name.
Little brother.
It's just little brother.
It's Mike.
Mike. I'm just kidding.
So anyway, Rick, we become inseparable, and so Meg's goes on strike this one year, and my dad worked shift at that point at the plant. He was a maintenance man over at Vanadium Foot Mineral, and him and Mom, that's about the time they were getting separated. Well, Chance had come up to stay all night because Meg didn't have school the next day, so he's staying all night. Me and I'm like sophomore in high school. Mom would let him come up because, again, Mary and Charlie.
You guys are family.
Basically. I mean, in and out of each other's houses. Yeah. So Chance would stay all night. Sometimes he would get to go coon hunting with my dad, and Dad would let me go because I had to go to school next day. Chance would be like, I'm going coon hunting. They call my dad the sheriff. He's never been in law enforcement, but they just call him sheriff. And so the sheriff, he'd say, me and sheriff's going coon hunting tonight. And it'd be like, what the hell, man? You know, my buddy Chance.
Sucks.
Yeah, and then him and Dad, you know, because Dad would work that shift, and then they'd come in, and next morning Chance would be laying in my bed. You know, it was like he's my brother, and that's one of those guys that we all got one in our life.
Yeah.
I know which way his gun's pointing the same way mine is, kind of deal. But anyway, these. So I was so blessed.
I know which way his goes.
Pointing. That's right, man.
I like that.
I'm telling you, you know, and then Mike was a tag along, and he was little brother.
Yeah.
And Mike did whatever we told him to do.
Yeah.
And people remember this: Jack Tatum and George Atkinson.
Yeah.
If you're a football fan out of the late 70s, Tatum obviously played at Ohio State.
Oh, yeah.
One of the baddest
Complete
cats.
savage, yeah.
Right.
Raider, Oakland
and the
Raider,
other
yeah.
safety for the Raiders was this guy named Atkinson.
Yeah.
And Rick and I come up with this
And
thing.
they played for who?
The Raiders.
But they're not from Meggs.
No, these guys are pro footballers. Rick and I would do the George Atkinson and Jack Tatum thing on Mike. Now remember, you've seen Mike Chansey.
Yeah.
He can't get through that door.
It's enormous.
Yeah, he's just a big dude, man. And
Not
but he
five.
was okay. But he was that little that we got away with that deal.
Yeah,
and then it's always become the joke that Michael look at us and say, "I think I could whip your ass now." It's like, yeah.
Real softly.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You know,
Who was the didn't Meggs have a guy that went to the Prozo back in the 60s, late 60s? Athens did.
I thought Bartram was the only one for
Bart was it, and you know, there's a great story. And see, here's the funny: my dad knew Weldon. Mike's dad just passed away recently.
Yeah.
Weldon's a great dude. My dad knew Weldon and then Rory. See, the Bartrams are cousins to one of the guys I graduated with, a guy named Chapman from down Racine. CT and I were tight.
Now you graduate from Southern, correct?
Yes, I'm an '82 grad from Southern.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Purple Tornadoes.
So where did you meet Little?
Lit was a senior when I was a freshman at Rio, but I can remember Steve being a senior in high school when I was a freshman at Racine. He went to North Gallia High School. Steve did.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a guy you ought to have on this show.
I'd like to get a
We're
Little
trying.
on the
We're
show.
working.
Hey, listen, he's got a great story, man.
He's got a hell of a story.
Yeah, he does. And again, you know, Lit's worked for everything he's ever had.
Ever had.
Yeah, buddy.
Did he play baseball at Rio Grande?
Yeah, he did. And he, you know, he was a good hitter. He was. I remember.
Did you play any baseball?
I tried out down at Rio Grande and I made a decision that I regret to this day. I didn't go back after I had found out that I was on the roster for like what you did a tryout thing in the fall. I think they called it a swine series, and I made it. And then I was playing men's slow pitch softball,
and you wanted to do that.
Yeah, I made a real dumbass decision.
Well, you know, we all do.
You know, and again, I regret
Crucial
it.
years.
Yeah, but again, back to that.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, you're sitting here with a guy just that absolutely gave up a full ride to Marshall on the third week.
Yeah, I don't know whether I ever got to play. You know, looking back at it, I'm an old man now, but it was like I had that opportunity. Larry Cook was the baseball coach, and everybody will rail on him. I don't know what kind of coach he was because I was only around him in the fall and Lit and those guys, seriously, ran the fall ball. The seniors did. And, of course, even then, Steve did a great job.
I know this is going to upset some people, but whatever. I know it's not named after him, but the field down there,
Oh, buddy.
that's Steve Little. Now I will say McGraw does a hell of a job.
Yeah. Well, I just
McGraw's kept what
like if
Steve
you
started.
would have seen that field
Before
prior to Steve,
Yep.
and then what he built, and the reason I know about it is I was playing in the program at that time, and my ass put so many hours in on that damn
Picking up
field.
rocks. I've heard that story.
Oh my goodness!
Well, I got invited to an Expos tryout camp there.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know where I was at on the Richter scale of playing baseball, but I got invited to this camp, you know. So a guy, Jeff Wayland, who's a teacher at Meggs Middle School. Jeff was just the baseball coach at Meggs last year. It's Colin and those boys' uncle.
Yeah.
Ace
Yeah.
is my buddy.
Yeah.
Okay. Ace and I played American Legion baseball together. And Jeff had an August birthday.
Okay.
And so you got to play that extra year like you did in Little.
Oh
League,
yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And so Jeff and a guy named Jerry Fields. Jerry, another great athlete, went to Meggs, played linebacker for the Marauders, started as a freshman. You know, in the SEO back in.
Yeah, bud.
Dude, okay, you had to be a stud to play.
It's a good league.
Okay,
man.
you know, I mean.
I miss that league.
Yeah, I mean, you had to be a stud to play.
I missed that when that was our our league.
Yeah, man. Like when I grew up as a young kid, my first exposure to football, I was on the sidelines in the early '80s when my father was coaching. I was like the manager, ran the kicking tee out, water,
Yeah.
and I mean, you're talking about SEOL teams like Megs, Waverly. I mean, there were a lot. The SEOL
Gallipolis, Ironton, Logan,
Yeah.
Wellston. I mean, come on.
Wellston was in it. I mean, man, it was. I wish it'd go back. I love that. I mean,
It was a different.
it's sacrilegious that Athens is in the TVC
Gallia.
and that Gallia is in the SOC.
Yeah.
Come on, guys, let's get it back together.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think that was one.
Enough of this crazy league we're playing.
It's not going to happen.
No, I know it isn't. I know it isn't.
When we did,
Let us dream.
You got to be in a league for your kids to get recognized for those
Yeah, I know.
district awards
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
Ohio awards.
Yeah, yeah.
And Bob Kite and I were the last two SEOEL president and vice president or whatever
Yeah,
we were.
yeah, yeah.
Jackson was in
Yeah,
charge of the league.
yeah.
For league expansion.
Okay.
Trivia question.
Okay.
You know what we expanded in? Tennis and soccer.
Oh.
We got Athens and Athens and Alexander in the SEOL and soccer the last year, and we expanded. I think Athens in tennis. And
Did Phil tell you what I'm trying to expand? Why I took him to Great Seal?
I know he told me you mentioned that guy's name in the promo there thing earlier,
Jubal.
man. Jubal, yeah, and he told me about that bicycle. He said it was effortless.
Yeah.
He really enjoyed that. He really
Well,
did.
I told Phil that I went over there to Great Seal a couple weeks ago, and I mean, you couldn't get a parking spot, and I mean, there was people. I mean, there was probably 500 people there, and I said, "What in the world's going on?" They said, "Oh, this mountain biking team, high school mountain biking team meet."
Well, Ross County has our bus inspector, Rodney Parker, works for State Highway Patrol. He has he's in charge of the trap shooting team at Huntington High School, and I think I want to say Paint Valley or Adena has one too.
I'll tell you, I
Maybe
love
both
this
do.
expansion, like
I do too.
archery, bowling.
Fishing.
We've done bowling, fishing, mountain
Oak
biking.
Hill boys went to state last
Yeah.
year in fishing.
Let's do it.
Is Randy the coach?
Randy probably is. Heck, he should
Him
be.
and Scott Lewis.
Him and Scott Lewis is.
Yeah. See, Scott and Randy went to Southwestern High School. Randy's a year younger than me.
Okay.
And then Gene Allen, Elvis.
Yep.
Yeah. There's a great family. The Carters.
Hey, happy birthday, Coach Lake.
Yeah, happy
Is it his
birthday, Coach.
birthday? Happy birthday, Big Daddy. Happy birthday, buddy.
I'm gonna guess his age.
I have a great story about
Let's
Randy
see.
that I'm not going to tell you guys on the air. And he knows if he ever sees this clip, he'll say, "I know what he's going to tell."
Is he 55?
56.
56.
56 or
My guess,
57.
yeah.
I'll be 58 in July.
How old am I? I'm going to say he's 56.
I thought he was born 66.
I was born in 64. I thought it was 65. I thought he's a year behind me. So he'd be my age, 57. I'll be 58
I
in
thought
July.
he's about 8 years older than me.
Hey, you're
he
probably
could-
right.
he could
You're
be
right.
9.
I had
I
on a
don't-
shirt one day,
Yeah.
Green Bay Packers. I walked into weightlifting my freshman year, and
Yeah.
that's why I always know. I always remember that. And it was a 1966. It might have been a 65. Is it 65 or 66? And he said, "That's the year I was born, Pudge."
Okay.
Because I've always kind of figured that. Yeah. But happy birthday, Coach.
He's a good
Yeah.
dude. That
Yeah.
guy right there.
Yeah,
is,
him
man.
and Gene.
One of the best.
Oh, Gene Allen and Larry Carter and I played softball. And back to
Larry's
that, was
another
talking about
one,
the
dude.
baseball
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
at
yeah,
Rio,
yeah.
and I got invited to play men's slow pitch softball. Now remember, I'm 18 years old.
Yeah.
My dad drank some beer at the house, and I'd see Dad maybe take a 6-pack. We coon hunted, and he may drink one or something afterwards. But
Yeah.
I never saw my dad drunk.
Yeah.
He was a member of the Racing Gun Club. Got to promote the boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never saw him drunk up there at gun shoots or nothing, but I knew he
Pop,
drank
pop
beer.
machines with beer in it.
That's exactly right. That's right. And so anyway, I get invited, and the very first tournament I played these guys, I got to go to Cleveland, Ohio. Now, I'd never been to Cleveland even as a kid. Columbus.
I still haven't been to Cleveland.
You
In
ain't
40
really
years,
miss-
I've never been to Cleveland.
I've been up there to watch the Browns. They always let me down. But anyway, so I go to Cleveland. I'm staying in a hotel room, and my roommate, there's just me and him in a bed. When we went on a family vacation, the once or twice we did, all four of us were piled into a room, me and my sister and the other double bed. I'm in a room by myself. Barons of Athens.
Yeah.
Okay, up on
Barron's
that.
Men's Shop.
Yeah.
Barron's Men's Shop. That was the
Pugh.
sponsor team. Dwight Pugh.
I worked for Dwight in college.
Oh, did you? Okay, Dwight was a good dude, and I'm telling you, he took
passed
care
away
of.
about
Yeah.
5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And I had never met Dwight. A guy named Gene Wise ran this team. So Gene had seen me play American Legion baseball, and they had a couple of softball tournaments after Legion season was over at Syracuse ball field where I grew up. It's like, it's got 310-foot fence, 380 center field. It's a baseball field, but they were playing men's slow pitch on it, and he was up there one day, and he come to me and said, "Would you like to play?" I'm a young kid. I got lots of energy, if you will. Yeah. So, sure. So he takes me to Cleveland and sticks me in right center field. And lo and behold, the dude beside me that plays left center is a guy named Greg Moeller. Greg's a Fairfield Union graduate, and Greg played 4 years at OSU center field.
Okay.
I mean, so, it's pretty neat in the output. It's like, I just get it and say, "Here, Greg, throw it in."
Throw it home.
Frozen hose.
Yes, he did. And then one year we picked up who would have been the MAC player of the year, a guy named Wes Harrington, that led the MAC in home runs. I'm name dropping, but Wes played right field beside me. So at that point, I'm 18 and I'm playing with guys who I felt like could play. Well, they're also feeding me free beer, taking me places I probably shouldn't have been in.
Church.
Yep. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and so then
libraries.
Yes.
Libraries.
Thank you.
Yes.
Churches.
Yeah.
Confessions. So then when it got back to going back to Rye Grandin playing, it was like, wait a minute, where's the fun at in this?
Yeah, because Rye wasn't real fun back then. I mean, not
well,
that it is now,
any
but
college program, you're not going to be doing that kind of shit.
Right.
I mean,
so, I mean, and I got spoiled, and it was like, okay, so then I just didn't want to do it.
Fun,
Well, yeah, and it was. And again, but you said formative years of going back to my dad. Dad's line was this: if you go in the Army, it'll make you grow up. It's because that's what he did. And that's what my Uncle Raleigh did. His brother and my mom's brother Bill and her brother Mike, and that's what they did.
So you had a family where everybody had gone and served.
Yeah, because you didn't... we weren't well-to-do.
Sure.
So everybody had something. You went into that, which led into construction jobs or...
It was a good start.
Right.
I mean,
and a lot of my family was Masons. Nothing wrong with the Masons. A lot of them were Masons. And again, there was always that brotherhood, if you will.
Sure.
So again, it was like, I was the first guy to say I was going to college. And then, of course, when I went down there and I almost struggled and failed, it done me a lot of good. I mean, I didn't ask, there wasn't no help to get. I mean, there wasn't anything that they could have gave to give me.
Yeah.
And Peg Thomas.
Yeah.
Peg Thomas, Paul
She
Shoemaker.
dialed you in. Yeah.
Oh, reeled me in hard. And then,
Yeah,
like I said, then I end up in Roane County, and they give me my teaching assignment. I go to Left Hand, West Virginia, and I'm living out at Shade, Ohio. That's out 33 past where the 4-lane ends even now. And Dad and Marlene Reinhardt, back to that, are married. Okay. And they were good enough to let me live there because I didn't have any money. I was picking tomatoes, and $100 check a week was big money.
Well, and you didn't get paid.
I don't mean to laugh. I'm just.
Well, and you didn't
you're
get
saying
paid.
I was picking tomatoes.
I was, man.
Well, and you didn't get paid for a month.
Right, and you only got paid once a month.
Yeah. So, like, what? I mean, hell, you can't go over and get an apartment.
And again, this lady's again, her and her husband are good friends of mine. Tammy Cundiff ran the Vista for Jim Diddle in Racine. That's the first gas station when you go into Racine. That was Diddle's gas station. Jim's a gas and oil guy, and of course, Jim's a great guy too. I mean, these are like you guys. These are my people, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember going in there. One of the things that I had to do, did it with no pride in it. I went in and I looked at Tammy. Tammy Cundiff ran the station at that time for Jim, and I said, Tammy, I need gas to go to work. And she said, here's what you do. I'll start you a tab. You pay me every month. And I said, yes, ma'am. And so Tammy knew what I was doing because I told her I had a job because I had shirt and tie on and stuff.
Yeah.
And I had a Toyota Tercel car.
Yeah.
Little 4-speed, little 4-door. Yeah. It was red. And my buddies called it the Zesta. It looked like a Zesta cracker box is what they called it. And that's what I drove. And I drove it from Shade, Ohio, down the 4-lane to Pomeroy. And then see that you didn't have the bypass in. You had to go up through Syracuse Racine, got gas, up, across the Ravenswood Bridge to Ripley. 33 Ripley to Spencer's 30 miles roughly.
How long of a drive was that for you?
About an hour and 40 minutes one way, and I ended up in left hand because when you went into Spencer, you took a right.
Hour and 40 minutes.
It's a true story. Yeah. And I went to left hand West Virginia.
What time in the morning would you have to leave to be there to be at school?
5:30.
I was every morning. It was 6 o'clock when I was leaving because I knew I had to stop at the Vista most days. Because even that little car, every other day I had to get gas.
Hell, you were probably spending half your paycheck on gas.
I did. Well, I'll get to my paycheck in a bit. I mean, this is all true. So when I see what we have here or what our coaches have,
Oh yeah.
I don't want to hear it. So I'm a little sensitive about it. Because you guys are almost like, you're going like, he's making this shit up. And I'm like, no, I'm not. So I get there, and I had to go to Left Hand, West Virginia. And you can Google that. There's a Left Hand elementary school. And I got there at morning, and I had to be there by 8. And by 8:45, I was done. And then I had to go to Walton High School, Walton Tigers, where I was JV boys basketball coach, and it was like an assistant football coach. And then I had special needs, but I didn't have to be there till like noon. So I'll get to that. There's funny.
Hey, there's
in
a
this.
gap in time there.
There's funny. There's funny in this. This will be hilarious. I think people will like this.
Yeah.
So anyway, when I get to Left Hand, this is where I told you guys earlier, get your T-shoes out. I had 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl. One boy's name is Todd Goodwin. I'll get to Todd. Start my first job. I'm teaching reading to 7th grade special needs students. We're making friends. It's Labor Day. You start late August. It's Labor Day. We come back after Labor Day. Hey, Puds, what did you do over Labor Day weekend? First little boy. We had Biddy League football practice. And that was the first time I'd ever really heard of that.
Yeah.
Because in Southeastern Ohio, other than you guys in Jackson, we didn't have nothing like that in Meigs or any place like that.
We didn't have it here then.
Okay, so I'm like, okay, I didn't know. I was like, oh, really? Yeah, I got Biddy League football. I asked a little girl, and she says this, and this is dating myself. We went to the Charleston Town Center.
Yeah.
Dude, it's ready to close now.
Yeah,
That's when it was brand new. So it was a big thing to go there.
Deal.
Oh, yeah.
Big deal.
I look at Todd Goodwin, and I say, little dark-haired boy, I said, what'd you do, Todd? He said, we cut firewood. I said, oh, yeah, man. Squirrels gathering nuts, that kind of thing, And I said, what kind of chainsaw you use? Yeah, I'm trying to make conversation. This kid's very backward. We use no salt. We didn't use salt. So we didn't use salt. I said, how you get him down? I said, Dad cuts him down with an axe. I said, how do you get him out? He said, we got a mule. Okay, and this is 1987. And I said, I'm calling BS. So I listen to this kid.
Thinking,
So they go on down the hallway at the end of the period that I'm there for my travel. And lady down the hallway was actually born and raised in Meigs County. We'd made friends, acquaintances. She hadn't lived in Meigs County for years, but that's where she's originally from. So I started asking questions about Todd. She said, it's supposed to rain like Thursday. She said, he won't be here. What do you mean he won't be here? She said, well, where he lives up the holla, well, if it rains, he helps his mom catch water for bathing. And I was like, no way. And she said, yeah. And I tell her the story. She said, they ain't got no saw. Said his dad rides a bicycle from Left Hand, and if somebody's Googling this or watching this, to Spencer every day to work in a factory as a custodian. And this kid had nothing. I don't know what happened to Todd Goodwin, but I hope to the good Lord in heaven above that he looks at me someday and said I was good to that little boy. Because I'm telling you, this kid had nothing. So now the funny part of my story is, of course, I was a young man, and I got a good buddy down home. And, of course, when I got home, it was always 4:30, 5 o'clock. Well, you always felt like you had all kinds of energy. All of a sudden, that turns into midnight, and then that turns into 5 in the morning getting up. Days of it. So I would go over toward Clendenin. That's where the flood hit. There was a township road that let me take out a Left Hand, and I went under, and I went right underneath I-79.
Okay.
Going to Morgantown. Into Clendenin. And there was a parking ride there.
Exactly.
And I had this Mazda 4-wheel-drive pickup truck. And my mom, years ago, had bought me one of them. People see them. It was a fold-up. You could fold it up, but you could open it up, and there's an alarm. You said, get up, And there was one time in particular, 3 or 4 days in a row, when I got that parking ride, I'd go to Stop and Go and get a Mountain Dew. I drink Mountain Dew like water.
Yeah.
Mountain Dew and a candy bar, and I throwed that in me. And I went in that parking ride for about 3 days in a row and opened them truck doors.
Yeah.
It was warm enough. I'd lay on that truck seat and go to sleep. Catching up.
Yeah.
Catching up.
This guy, these tree tempering companies in there for about a week.
Yeah.
And I'd see him in there. And finally one time I just, how you are, you've all been there. And I'm out like a light, laying there in that truck seat, and that guy wakes me up. I jump up out there and he says, buddy, he says, are you all right? And I was like, yeah. He says, I've watched you for a week. He said, like clockwork, you pull in here at 9 o'clock. He said, and you wake up at 11 o'clock, and he said, your ass is up and going. He said, "Are you okay?" And it was like, "Yeah, man," because I had to be at Walton.
Hey, man.
at noon.
Hey, man, I'm a teacher.
I mean, looking back, I was like, okay. But I was, that's what I was doing. Right. And then I went to Walton, and my classroom at Walton High School was on the second floor. It was an old boy's bathroom.
Oh, my.
And on the door, it had, if people remember, sometimes they had these metal tags, BOIS. You could see where that had been on the door. They'd taken them off. And you went in, you pushed the door open, and you had to walk around the wing, so like people couldn't see you.
Yeah. Oh,
and my back of my chair set up against that
the wing. Yeah.
And down the wall, this room is bigger. This room you guys have here is bigger. And I had pipe fixtures that come out of the wall that were capped off. And you could see the Johnny rings under the carpet. In the back right corner, I had a Warm Morning. That was the name of the stove. Warm Morning gas stove. I couldn't see out my window because they had to build a fire escape on the building off the second floor to make it legal.
Yeah.
And the fire escape roof blocked my window at Walton High School. And they played at a 4-H camps where they played football. And I don't remember a score clock, guys, and they dressed in a cabin. And the visiting team, they played we played Man, West Virginia, small schools.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And Walton had maybe 15, 16 kids. And they practiced at Walton High School, and this camp was down the road. And if it rained really, really hard, because you're so close where you're at in the mountains, they'd let you out early because they couldn't get kids home. And I had a kid that started, he was an 8th grader. I had 7th and 8th grade. And I had a kid started the first couple of weeks of school at Walton High School. I taught math and language arts is what I did, obviously special needs. And he quit showing up. So I go to the office. A guy named Steve Simonton's the principal, dressed to the nines. I mean, Mr. Howard's dresses. This guy was the same way. I mean, this guy was dressed professionally every day.
Yep.
And I go down and I say, "Hey, so-and-so ain't here." Yeah. At that point, the law was, and again, if you were a certain age and you lived a certain distance off a main bus route and your parents couldn't bring you from point A to point B, you could quit school in the 8th grade legally. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened.
And he thought, hey, I'm done.
He's done. Yeah. And then, and I had maybe 15, 16 kids there that afternoon, but a lot of them were the same kids.
Yeah.
It was pretty neat. Went to an IEP signing. That's something that was started, and I had to go to this kid's house because the parents wouldn't come in. And I pull in this house. It was on a state route that took me back to Spencer. And I got the address in the office, and he couldn't get a response. And I go to this house. And as I pull in, it's like a gravel right up against this ranch-style home. And there's cars there's 5, 6 cars there. So I could hear people. This dude opens the door and he comes out. He says, "Well, come on in." All right, okay. As I go step in, the front room, like your living room, is a full working bar.
Really?
Oh, my.
The family was living in the
A
home.
little bit of a speakeasy. Huh?
And
Yeah.
it didn't. I mean, seriously, there wasn't like a real sign outside or nothing.
Yeah.
And I had the parents sign this child's IEP there.
Yeah. Right there at the bar.
Yeah, I did.
In their bar.
It's God's honest truth.
Yeah.
There were people coming in there, bar stools and stuff set up. I mean, it was like a full blown. I mean, it was a and
Neighborhood deal.
I'm from Meigs County.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and this
You're not
is
an easy man to shock.
not at that point. No, I mean, I knew some varmints.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know some varmints.
You've been around a little bit.
Right, and I know some guys, and my people, my family, God love them, they worked hard, but I mean, none of them had lived in the mansion on the hill kind of deal. So there were some things that you'd seen. I mean, my grandma had an outhouse when I was a kid. You went to Grandma Clark's, dude, she'd tell you before it got dark, you better go.
Yeah.
It getting cold. An old Yeller, Dad or Uncle Raleigh once stole an old Yeller poster and stuck up on the inside the door. I remember that.
Yeah.
They'd stole it from the marquee when I was in high school or something.
goodness.
You know,
My
down
dad didn't
Pumber.
have running water till he was 24.
Yeah, man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
that would have been in 1972.
Yeah, that wasn't that uncommon though around here. Really. I don't think.
10 years before I was born. You were born in
1973.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember Mom and Pop when I was in kindergarten, first grade, actually building the bathroom on the house that they lived in Minersville High. I remember my dad and them that because when somebody did something back in, like family-wise,
Everybody
Everybody did it.
yeah, I remember on Saturday mornings I hated it because if Dad would say Friday night, well, tomorrow we're going to go help your Uncle Raleigh lay block, it was like, what?
Yeah, and that's what you were doing Saturday.
Saturday morning, me and Cousin Jay were like mixing mud, and they were screaming at us the entire time because it wasn't right. It was like, well, do it yourself in, but you didn't say that.
you didn't say that. Yeah, you didn't say
That kid now would.
You know, I'd have had false teeth at 10. But so growing up, that was my first job at Walton High School, and it was like. Coaching JV basketball in the state of West Virginia, you couldn't get off the bench. Well, I had played for Carl Wolf and Howie Caldwell at Racine. Howie was JV coach. These guys are animated, and they're damn good at what they do.
Oh, yeah.
Check it out. You go check them out, see what they do. They're good at what they do.
Yeah.
So that's who you're mimicking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're coaching.
Well, you can't sit if you're mimicking them.
No. So I remember our first game was at Williamstown, West Virginia, Parkersburg.
Oh, yeah. That's where my grandpa was born.
Which they were playing.
Yeah.
And, of course, they're a lot bigger in Walton. It was a non-league game. Yeah. And they tipped the ball off, and I'm sitting on the bench, and they tipped the ball off, and we make about 2 trips, and I don't know, somebody throws it in the 5th row or something, and I stand up, and the guy, boom.
Oh, immediate tee.
Gives me an immediate tee. Yeah. It was like, it says my first, like, I'm like, at this point, I'm like,
You're 6 minutes in.
yeah, I'm not even talking to this guy. I'm like, what? And he says, Coach, you can't get off the bench. And the head coach goes, yeah, I forgot to tell you. And I'm thinking, it's going to be a long year.
You should have told me that. You should have told me that earlier. Yeah.
But then, like I said, that was so when I look at people and I say, okay, I mean, I want this and I want that and I want, and there's other places when I was at Philo, they had a lot of things compared to what I had at Walton. But, we was joking earlier. Yeah, reflection. Yeah, this is good for me because Todd Goodwin, I had a little girl named Minnie. I can't remember her last name. And I come in one day at my desk there at Walton High School, come in around the wing. I sat down and she's standing in front of me. She's on crutches, little tiny thing. And I knew she had cancer because her hair and stuff. But I don't know these kids. I'm just learning them. And she's on crutches. And I say, Minnie, you know what? I can see her saying to her, Minnie, what did you do over the weekend? You know what happened to you? And she looks at me and she says, Mr. Hemsley, I don't have a leg. For 3 weeks, 4 weeks of school, this kid's coming in with a prosthetic leg.
And you didn't even realize it.
I didn't realize it. But again, because I'm learning them, I'm new. It's all brand new to me. And I look, and again, just like you guys, you didn't say anything. I mean,
I don't know whether or not I'm allowed.
I don't know. What do you say?
I mean, what do you say? I mean, she's looking at me, and she's whatever. She is a 7th grader in high school. Now, Minnie is deceased. She's passed now. The cancer, unfortunately, that dirty stinking disease got somebody. But at the same time, it was like I remember that feeling. I still have it now. I was like, open foot, insert size 10.
Yeah.
Well, but see, like and there are. There are tough stories here too. I mean, all the time. However, you turn and look at like that, like to your point, like if people start bitching or wondering where they are.
I think about many.
I mean, well, and look at that stadium up there on the hill. Look at that gymnasium. Look at our choir room. Look at our band room.
Everybody that I ever talk to that comes in here
is in awe.
It is in awe. Yeah. Unless they come from bigger. But I mean, if you
but even if they do, they're like, geez, man, like you talk about Jackson, I didn't realize I always, the thing I always think is cool, and this is, shout out Scott Massey, Alumni Stadium, whatever. Yeah. I mean, I just wonder what was on the mind of those Columbus South gentlemen last week. What's going to be on the mind of Columbus Eastmore? They're coming down here to probably what they think is playing a bunch of hillbillies, right?
Well,
they're going to crest. Well, they're going to crest that hill. Okay.
Yeah.
And look over and see the lights on that stadium and be like, whoa.
Yeah.
Now, just where in the hell are we? I mean, what is this?
Well, again, it's like you said, it's like we are so, I don't want to use the word spoiled.
We are.
But
I just hope we don't take it for granted, Joe. That's
and again, things have changed. You're talking 1987 to 2021, 2022. I get it. Times have changed. There's more money in education. and all that.
Yeah.
But it was just like, for me, it was a good start. And then just like as an administrator, I started at Gloucester Trimble. Cindy Johnson, superintendent, gives me a chance. And it was like, thank you. I'd had my certificate and stuff for years, working at Benton County, was coaching girls softball, had a great schedule, good people to work with, great people there. John Simmons.
Very successful softball teams, but
we had a couple good years.
very you're being
We had a couple good
you're
years.
being very
man.
modest.
I got an email a while ago from Jeremy Ward while we sat down here, and I got 2 girls going in December 10th for Hall of Fame induction.
That's awesome.
December 10th. One of them he was going to do it the night that we played Jackson. The second one, she was a young lady that got killed in a motorcycle wreck here, and we had the funeral and stuff back about August. Susan Eberts from Hamden, the ultimate teammate. Great kid, great young lady, and she got killed in a motorcycle accident up near Cleveland where she lived, and so she got in. And the other young lady going in is Kristen Collins, and it was her maiden name, but she caught for me for 4 years, and she was a really good one. They were two cool, pretty cool for me, kind of. Hall of Famers.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen a wide range of school systems as you come.
You're almost like the Appalachia man.
Thank you.
Yeah,
kind of
like Turtle Man.
Yeah. You've been at every rural
like
school.
You've seen like what the variety.
Yeah.
Of educational situations are around Appalachia. I mean, you've had a pretty good
So
sampling.
what better
of that.
guy for the movie Holler, really?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no question.
Because you went to Spencer, you went to Hayden,
Walton
High School. That
That's
was
the
in the same.
one.
And then
same
I was in Jewett-Scio, which is Harrison County. It was it's
West
very
Virginia
rural.
is just like us. I mean, they got steeper hills, but I mean, they're poorer than us.
Yeah.
As far as that area, But I mean, you've really done the Appalachian tour.
Yeah, it was again, I've been so blessed.
What?
They were, but
I don't over here.
By the way, I did break.
hit us with it.
I did.
Yeah. Now. Yeah. Let's do this. Like, hey, I mean, before we finish, we've got to. Speaking of the tour of Appalachia,
Tyler.
come on, Tyler.
Yeah, you don't be scared.
Yeah,
Get in here.
I'm a
Is this
little bit
Apple?
scared. I'm a little bit scared.
I tell you what I would do if I were you, and I'm not. If I were you, I would let me pour this other little bit.
Okay.
And then finish it with the apple because
Okay.
you ain't got nothing lit.
Yeah.
Okay. No.
Ain't no cigarettes.
We got no
cigars.
cigars.
Nothing.
Yeah.
No
There's
open
no
flame.
fire. No fire.
No candles.
Yeah.
Now again, this is be gentle.
Hey, now you just understand.
What are we dealing with here?
We ain't a bunch of rookies either.
Yeah.
now.
Is this white lightning? Is this white lightning?
Yes, it is.
Oh my goodness.
Can you run your car off this?
Probably.
Oh my God. This is.
Oh Lord,
be
why'd you
bad.
pour so
Well,
much?
I'm sorry.
It's gonna be bad. It's just
Here,
a
put it back
shot.
in here. Don't
Just a
wait.
shot.
This is
Just
all
a
done.
shot.
Here, put it back in there.
Oh, now
Don't
come
be
on,
such a
Patch.
sissy now.
Yeah.
That stuff will give me so much heartburn.
Mindy will be proud of you.
Just
She-
get
she
you
was
at
the time
times.
we beat on
Yeah.
the city.
Just get you at
Go ahead.
times. All right, here
you
we
want
go.
that? Do that, and then this other will be easy.
You ain't gonna get one?
Oh, do you want me to?
Yeah, because I want everybody to share in this mess.
Yeah. I'm waiting.
Yeah,
on
I bet this shit is hot.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it
Oh, yeah,
is.
it's hot. I
Yeah,
smell it.
It smells hot.
Tomorrow you won't be able to trust the fart.
It's just water.
Yeah. Here we
Yeah.
go.
All right, gentlemen. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thanks for
hey,
coming
hell
on.
yeah! Cheers.
Yeah, boy. That'll make hair grow on your head.
Son.
That's smooth.
I got here with an afro in a little bit.
Now I can't
coming up through
imagine.
the nose. Now
I
it's
bet.
hitting me
I
about
bet
right here.
that would last. I bet a bottle that size would last you a long
How
time.
long you think? How long do you think I've had that? Hey, this is
Don't say since yesterday.
No, this is a funny story. One night, Heath McInnes and his wife were taking ticket money on 139,
Yeah.
and I was going off the hill, and it was really cold that night. And Heath remembered this, and I said, "You gonna be here?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "I'll be back."
You look cold.
Yeah.
You look cold.
I went home and got a water bottle, a clean one.
Yeah.
And I poured him a little bit in there, and I said, "Here." I said,
have a drink of this water.
"Here." I said, well, I told him, I said, "Wait till you get home."
Oh yeah.
I said, "Don't." Now this gentleman is a little bit better.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. Whew. Now what we got here? A little apple pie.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Okay. Boy, I'm gonna tell you what. Now that was hot, but no, I will say this: I mean, I've tasted it before, right? And that it was hot, but I'll have to say that was pretty damn smooth
Yeah.
for White
Yeah.
Lightning. So I mean, I don't know who.
I coughed once. That's it.
I didn't at all. As a matter of fact, I think I had some infection in my mouth that is now gone.
Gone.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
may be the cure for COVID.
Oh shit! That would cure a lot of stuff.
So,
All right, man.
This is just that.
Cheers. Cheers.
Gentlemen, thanks again.
And thank you.
See, that's his lightweight stuff.
oh yeah, it's easy.
See, I'd rather have the other than that. That's the if I had about 5 drinks.
If I gave
of
you
that-
the rest of that other bottle, they'd have
Oh,
law.
I couldn't
They'd have
do
law up here a little bit.
Oh yeah, I couldn't do it. I'll tell you what, that stuff right there is dangerous. That apple pie. Like you drink 4 or 5 of those. That's dangerous.
It's kind of like wine, you know. Wine kind of sneak up
yeah,
on you.
and I bet it
I
makes you
got into
feel
making
bad.
the Everclear version of it. I
Oh,
did
you're
that.
making it with Everclear? Yeah.
I used to. I don't do it anymore.
I know several guys that have stills, and it's a fun process. Like if you're out smoking meat during the day, also maybe
I don't have the 12. Can you right now, and with your schedule, can you make 12 hours to go smoke beef on Saturday?
no, bud. And I'll tell you, it's one of the things that I've
Should be fun.
I'm really missing doing that.
Yeah.
And now the problem is I'm gonna have a little bit of time off.
So you decide to play basketball?
Well, yeah, but it's rec league. I mean, that's Saturday morning. That's that's I can do that backward. But it's the thing is, it's too damn cold to sit outside and smoke a brisket.
Man,
you
if
know?
you put on a coat and build you a fire.
That is
All right, what day we gonna do it?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
that kind of brings me in, not to wrap it. We're not wrapping much up, but okay. So here you are. You are where Chad and I are hopefully headed within the next. Chad's probably got another 15. I got another 20.
Yeah.
Retirement.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
You're talking
what's-
about time. I can't wait.
So what are you going to do? What are you?
Yeah.
What's your goals?
Okay, I'm going to give you 2 answers. One is the correct answer, and you can decide which one. Whatever I want to do,
Yeah.
or whatever Christy tells me to do.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Yes,
is
thank
the
you. Good
correct-
choice. Ding, ding, ding. You're a winner.
No, but are you excited? I mean, you've been answering a school bell, bud, for what 35 years?
35 total.
Yeah.
Again, just like Phil.
Yeah.
A lot of guys. We've mentioned Bob. Bob was the
Yeah,
guy that did it for a long time as well.
Yeah.
I want to go while I got good health and enjoy myself. Like I said, I have nothing negative. There's been negative moments, I guess, throughout my career, and I'll shoulder those. Those are my fault.
Yeah. Now, do you think you're a guy that has like a hobby that you're going to die?
Yeah,
on?
like that's what I'm talking about. Like,
Or do you think that you'll be like?
absolutely, no.
Or are you going to be a guy that'll be like, maybe I'll
you
go
have-
back and help him?
I mean,
like,
okay,
you know.
so you're 57.
57. 58 July.
Okay, so
Oh, you're retiring a young man.
You're retired, a young man.
I love to hunt, love to fish. Going bow hunting probably Saturday morning. Again,
You'll not be a guy that has trouble occupying your time.
No, I'm easily amused, dude.
Okay.
I mean, I'm telling you, man, I have a good
So,
time
like,
by
you don't
myself.
think that there won't be a draw for you to be like, man, maybe I'll go back and help or consult or
I'll
do
sub a little bit. Maybe I've talked to another buddy that's maybe got something for me. I guess you would call it part time. I can make my own schedule because I was real upfront with him, and he's a great dude.
Yeah.
That says, look, man, I want some time for me. Our jobs are 24/7, 365.
Yeah.
If you're an administrator.
Well, and that's what I'm saying, Joe. That's an adjustment, dude. Like if you go from that to nothing, like I watched my father kind of try to do that, and he's like, "Geez, I don't
But he
really
didn't have
any
a whole
hobbies.
lot of hobbies, though.
None.
Yeah, he didn't have
No,
any.
it's
None.
okay. Again, that's the thing. It's something to do. I mean, I like to golf. I'm terrible at it. I like it. I don't want to spend that money on it. But hunting and fishing, I got one beagle dog right now. For years, I had beagles until I got into administration. And when I was coaching, you could still have beagles.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
But once you get into administration, that stuff's gone.
My dad and little still rabbit hunt every Saturday.
That's awesome, man.
Every
You know,
Saturday.
something that we don't do, but that's something my dad and my grandpa, my I guess my step grandfather, Pop, that I did. And right there where I grew up in Syracuse, I could walk to the Lovett property in Minersville.
And rabbit hunt.
Well, rabbit hunt, squirrel hunt,
Yeah,
deer hunt,
whatever.
grouse hunt. Love the grouse hunt. Of course,
grouse
there's no
is left
grouse
area.
anymore, right? Yeah, they're going. But yeah, I like that stuff.
Any goals? Like, okay, so you statistically, now you're talking to a life insurance guy,
Sure.
but statistically,
Thank you very much.
yeah, statistically, you've got till 83, or 81 actually.
It's the average.
That's the life expectancy on a male right now is 81.
Buddy, I'm just halfway home.
Yeah, but I mean, is
yeah.
there anything you're wanting to do? Like, is there any goals? Like,
You want to travel?
You want to go anywhere?
Well, I'm going to say this while I'm on here. My daughter Katie's getting married to Kendall Neal. Great young man.
Oh, good.
They're getting married
boy,
in June.
I'll tell you, that's a good.
You mentioned Denver. I'd been there before. That's where she's. It's not going to be a big fancy destination wedding. That ain't my kid.
Yeah.
But she's picked to get married there. I got a son in the U.S. Air Force, Wyatt, who's home on leave right now, trying to kill a deer. He's going to go into education. He's med tech in the Air Force, and I'm like, Christy and I are like, stay in medicine, male nurse. They'll help you take your LPN. The Air Force in this state will help you.
Yeah.
He's like, nope. And here's the deal: Missy Rowland. And again, Kelly Wilson. Those are two people he mentions that he fell in love with as a third grader at Southview and a high schooler in AP Bio at Jackson High School.
And he wants to be a teacher.
Those people have been, and Curtis Linder. I mean, not that these other people, Beth Osborne or whoever, had
That's
him.
great, man.
And he mentions those kids, and it's like, wow. And of course, Katie's a teacher at the middle school right now.
Yeah.
My wife had Christy as her aide
Yep.
a couple of years ago. Mandy loves Christy. My goodness,
thank you.
loves her.
Again, I outkicked my
Me
coverage.
too. I think all three of us did.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
Four.
Yeah.
I like your wife better. I like you too, Tom.
Yeah. We outkicked our coverage. And again, she's been the best part of me for the last 20.
So you're heading out west,
We're going to go west in June.
just to Denver.
Just for the wedding. Near the state park.
What'll be your last day?
July 29.
Okay, so you'll still be working when you go out there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And again, I told Phil, and again, let me say something about that guy. Wow. I mean, anybody want his job? Throw your hat in the ring, jump in there.
Yeah, he's been. Well, he's been.
I'll tell y'all.
He was
glad
one of our
Phil's at the
first
helm.
guests. And,
Yep.
Yeah, you don't have to like what he does, but he does it with the best intention of all
He
kids.
does.
Always
regardless
has.
of what you think.
Oh yeah.
It's
Well, what I
listen,
like about him is he's not.
he's my
not-
boss. Yeah.
Well, and he's not going to allow people to influence him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. I
He does
like
what's
that.
best for
Yes,
kids, man.
Yes,
He does
yes.
what's best for kids.
He does.
And again, I was a high school principal, and sometimes what he thought best and I thought best was
Maybe
different.
too different, but
And
yeah.
he's the and you know what? At the end of the day, yeah, he was okay.
Well,
He
but
was
you know
right.
what? You know what I like about Phil? If he's going to make a directive, he'll own it.
Oh, absolutely.
He's always
He ain't
been
gonna
that
throw
way,
nobody
man.
under the
I've
bus,
known
dude.
that.
Yeah,
He'll take
yeah,
it.
yep.
Nope.
He'll
I've
take
known,
it.
I've known Phil. Jason introduced me to Phil, and I mean, so I've kind of known him for a long time now. And I have utmost respect for Phil.
Well, I mean, dude, I
Have faith in him.
When
We're
I
good.
was coaching at the high school, the second stint, or third stint when I was with Shane, all of you guys were coming in at that time, and I had the privilege of working for like Steve Anderson, then Phil. You were the principal, and it was man. These guys were just no BS.
Yeah.
I mean, not to use a cuss word, but like you didn't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
It's like, hey guys, if you do something wrong, we'll tell you. But like also, if you're doing right, bud, we got your back. Go coach the team and be good to the kids.
yeah.
Phil has been a great leader for the district.
Yeah.
He's been a good mentor for me, and he's my age.
Yeah.
He's got more. I think he's got like double the years administrative. He got into administration
Early,
really
didn't he?
Yeah,
Right out of being a basketball
Right. So
coach.
he's learned. He's been a basketball coach, successful basketball coach. He's had good teams and bad teams, which that happens.
Phil kind of made the jump from like high school principal and stuff like on up to higher administration pretty early, didn't he? Because like he was the principal at
I
Piketon
think.
and stuff for a while, and then he
was at Piketon. I think that in an elementary school.
and did he wind
went
up?
to Western Latham.
Did he wind up at like as an assistant superintendent or something over there in Pike County?
I think
We're speculating.
Well,
I
he's
don't know.
principal at Western Latham, and I think he
Yeah.
became Steve Anderson's assistant
He was
superintendent here.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, I
he
think.
came here as the
He came here with
assistant.
Steve, I
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been a very good mentor. I mean, I've interviewed a couple of times, and for superintendent's job back when I thought I wanted to do it, and the more it changes, we kind of touched on that.
So
earlier.
are you guys going to stay in this area?
Well,
retirement, or?
I mentioned earlier my mother-in-law and father-in-law live in Meigs County as well.
Right.
And Christy and I are, when we retire, I don't know, I don't have a date or a time frame.
Yeah.
But we are going to buy her family farm. It's 80 acres.
Oh, nice.
Her sister and brother-in-law have 100 acres that adjoin it.
Okay.
She's got another sister that lives maybe a half mile around the road, if you will.
What part of Meigs County is that?
This would be the Hemlock Grove area. Christy was a marauder.
Tell me in schools. Yeah,
She was a marauder,
Okay,
unfortunately.
okay.
She wasn't a purple tornado like myself.
Okay. So she's a city girl.
Yeah, them,
Yeah.
them people down. I always joke
Close to
say
Pomeroy
them
or
people
what?
down Pomeroy Middleport got all that dirty water. Us people from Syracuse and Racine got clean. You know, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's an old marauder, but I don't hold that against her.
So
She's
you'll find your place probably back there.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that hunting and fishing
Oh,
and golfing and going to the Racing Gun Club. I've said that about 3 times
Yeah.
tonight. Them boys,
Well,
they'll never see it. Trust me, they'll never
no,
see
let
this.
them
They're
get
not
on there.
YouTubers.
No.
Well, can we go out there sometime? You
Well,
need to take
I've
us
I've done
there.
the gun club.
I'll tell you what. Again, it is like
Where you
Las.
shooting?
It's like well, we do have shooting matches. It is open to the public. It's a private club on
you shooting?
Nice Hollow Road.
Model 12.
Well, you know, funny you mentioned that. I happen to know that a gentleman that's real close to me that has 3 of those. One of them's nickel steel. Before I go, my great uncle Raleigh Hemsley played Major League Baseball 19 years. He caught Bob Feller's opening day no hitter. I spoke one night, sat with Bob Feller at a Cleveland Indian game, talked to him for probably whatever baseball game last 2 hours.
Yeah.
And Bob Feller didn't talk about baseball to me. He talked about Syracuse, Ohio, where he went grouse hunting.
Okay. So you know what I'm seeing here.
Round 2.
There's gonna be a sequel.
Yeah,
here,
gotta
dude.
be a sequel.
I mean, Joe, you've
I got the
commit
autograph
right
book
now.
to show people if they don't believe me.
You have got to commit right now.
To what?
That okay.
I've been committed.
Now when you retire,
Yes.
okay, you're coming back on the show.
Yeah.
All right. So whatever
Because I
Thursday
feel
is
like
after July 29th.
Well, I don't know, or whenever before. I mean, I just thought maybe once you retire, then
Sure.
But what I'm saying is though, I mean, my goodness, man, we've gone 2 hours. I feel like we could go about 3
Have
more.
we went to?
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, we're 2
I'm
hours.
sorry.
No, this is great.
Yeah.
I-
We're good. No, we're good.
Yeah,
sorry.
we're
Yeah,
good.
no.
We're absolutely good. I mean, hell, we'll do the second show right now for all I care. But I mean, I'm just saying, man, this has been enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you guys are great, and I've watched the show, and like I said, I've learned some things. And again, I don't know what.
But I don't know what you've learned from our show.
What's your favorite podcast?
I think, in all honesty, I was really intrigued because we mentioned this earlier when we was in the back room back here, that young lady from Hawking College, because, you know, my thing is.
Because you're from Meigs.
Well, no. Yeah, that's no. Seriously though,
I know.
Here's the thing:
just playing.
if you're on the cutting edge,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, that's where it's going to be here before it's all over with. Okay,
Yeah,
and
well,
it's
it's here.
Yeah.
That's here. You know.
Right.
Well, and
Well,
that's-
there's one in town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, again, I had went to Hawking with my son for a visit, and those were the programs that were, you know, coming down the road, the coming attractions,
yeah.
Yeah,
and
it
they were
wasn't
telling us
everything,
that, and Wyatt was like, and it was like, no, we was looking more like wildlife biology, wildlife, officer, those kind of things.
Man, I think I missed my calling in that.
Yeah, I think
You'd like
you
to
did.
do that?
I think that I would have liked to have went to Hawking for like divisional wildlife or something.
Hey, listen, here's the deal. I told Christy this a while back. I said one night to her, I said, you know what? I retire. I may go do that for a year and a half and be done and go do something like forestry or something like that. Seriously.
Be a game warden or
I've thought
something,
about
dude.
just while I'm.
I don't know I'm going to be a game warden, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
forestry.
But I've thought about just taking classes on it, not to like get out of the insurance.
Oh,
but just,
yeah.
I think it'd be a
Hey,
good
can
class.
you imagine though? Like seriously, like if you became like a ranger at a state park or something.
That's what Donovan's doing.
I mean, yeah, well, and you've got
Donovan
workman.
Is that what he's doing? Seriously?
He was in
Yeah.
he was in like mental health over at OU.
Yeah,
or
right,
something.
right.
And now he bid in with the state. And now he's running Mommy Park.
Well, see, you're joking about that, but I know he likes to fish.
He loves
Donovan
it,
does.
yeah.
But Wyatt, my dad has talked to Wyatt about that. My son, when he gets out of the Air Force, doing the same thing, and then going into going out west and the Grand Tetons. You know, you got to wear the funny hat, but.
Hey, dude.
Crap, you're paying me, man. I'll take your money.
Here's the
Just see
thing,
the
Joe.
country.
That's what I said. Like you've had a career in education, and there's a lot of that to that piece.
I'm really going to buy a still, though, Chad.
I know. I know. And I can't wait.
I've told my wife and kids, I said, you can buy them things online that will make
Hey,
like 5 gallon stills. And it's like,
Hey, it's
I'll
going to be
buy
great
one.
for the chubby bartenders to have a friend in Meigs County.
Yes.
We'll just do like a
We can
YouTube
go
video,
visit.
set it up in the
Yeah.
back
Oh,
for
yeah.
a night.
Yeah, a little.
I'm buying it still. I told the kids
Hey.
to set up mine still. They're
Well,
like,
Chad,
no, you're not.
I've watched you work toms that time.
Oh yeah, easy.
Yeah. well, I didn't say last
Come
name.
on. I don't even know what you're talking about, but back off.
I watched you work. Yes.
I've tried. Yeah, I'm not very good at it.
Well, no, you're allowed as long as you're not selling
Oh,
it. You're
yeah,
allowed to
yeah,
make it.
yeah,
You can
yeah,
make it
it's-
all day long.
You got to give it away.
Yeah, you got,
I guess in a nutshell, and I'm sure somebody out there saying that's not right. Well, okay, guess what? My understanding is if you give it as a gift and you
don't
raffle
give it to anybody. Just keep it for
right,
yourself.
right.
I mean, you're allowed to do that.
yeah,
Right?
Hey,
Thank you, sir.
you guys are awesome.
Well,
Man.
thank
This
you,
has
man.
been cool.
We're going to do
Thank
it
you.
again. We're going to do it again.
and I know-
like
all right,
and
Smash that like
subscribe.
button.
thank you.
All right.
Yeah,
See.
this is